me.
Welcome to the We Love Gaming podcast. If you are new to the channel, what's good? We're glad to have you here with us. Thank you for clicking on the video and checking it out. If you are returning, we appreciate you coming back to check out another episode. Just to let you guys know, the Patreon link is down below. Also the shop link, just in case you want to get some merch, help support, whatnot. My name is Marcus, aka Godly Sovereign, and of course I'm not alone. I've got Ray, Sir Knight, aka 1000 Game Slayer. But what's good, man? How's your week been?
It's been good, dude. It's been a really simple, easy week. Just trying to figure out what to play again. Because, I finished Disco Elysium this last week.
Okay. All right. You feel well accomplished? You feel like that was a good one to put under the belt?
That was awesome. Yeah. So I'll definitely talk more about that when we're talking about what we've been playing.
Yeah.
But it's just been when you read a good book and then, you're having that really difficult time, when the book's over, it's put away, and you have to try to find something new to read.
Yeah.
And you have, that book hangover.
Right.
I get that sometimes with some books that are really good. If the book is incredible, I have a really hard time finding another book because nothing just meets it. Nothing meets that standard.
Yeah, you start listening to snippets, videos, and samples and stuff, trying to figure out what's the next one you can move to.
Exactly, and it's there could be this little lag.
Right.
And I don't always get that with video games, but I do sometimes. I got it with The Last of Us 2. And I'm kind of getting it with Disco Elysium. I'm trying to fill out what do I want to play next. So I've been dabbling in a whole bunch of games this week, just figuring out what I want to play. Okay. But it's been nice because I've had tons of time in my hand. It's been really nice to have some time off, some break from my master's program. So just been really enjoying that time off, bro. What about you?
My week's been solid. Haven't really done too much. Got a chance to go down to Universal Studios, check that out. Definitely been playing some games and stuff. And then my sister, she just had her daughter. So I got a little niece now,
Congrats,
and a new
bro.
niece now in the
Congrats.
family. So shout out to my sis if she's watching this. Normally she got this on play in the background somewhere.
Nice. Congrats. Congratulations. Absolutely. That's incredible.
Yeah, for sure. But let's get into what you've been playing this week.
Yeah, so like I mentioned, I finished Disco Elysium. So that's what I probably put a good my good weekend into after we finished the pod. I went on to that and then maybe a little bit into Monday because what happened was I was playing it late Sunday and something happened with my game where I think I had a 90-something% check and I missed it and I was like, damn. So it was really late and I was like, I can't continue this. So I shut the game off.
Yeah.
And I was just going to try it again the next day.
Okay.
But I finally finished it and I'm actually really, really surprised by the ending. Not in the sense I don't want to spoil anything. There's a weird thing that happens at the end, especially if you get the checks and stuff, right?
Yeah.
That happens at the end. That's a trip that I wasn't really expecting. It's really bizarre the direction the creators of this game went with certain things that I would have never really expected or saw coming. Little things in the story that you would think are just little side things.
Yeah.
But they actually are important to the end.
Okay.
Which you won't really make that connection because they seem like side things, but they kind of happen big time in the story. But what really, really struck me, man, about the end of this game was you have to understand, in this game, Disco Elysium, it's just point and click. It's like a point and click adventure, a CRPG, right? It's all computer RPGs like Baldur's Gate, but with no combat at all. So it's just clicking and talking the whole game. And you wake up with amnesia, you don't know who you are or what you are. So not only do I not know who and what I am, but the character doesn't either. And so literally every choice and every decision you make throughout the game is really, in a sense, you. But there is a little bit of the character in the game rubbing off on you because he's a drunk, he's depressed, and you know that about him.
Yeah.
But you're playing him and he's amnesia. So every decision he kind of makes because he has amnesia is not really him, it's you. But he's not really treated very well in the world because the night before he got drunk, he was a mess. He ruined everything. So everyone around town doesn't have a very favorable opinion about you.
Yeah.
And so you're really kind of going through this game kind of struggling, man, trying to decide what kind of character you want to be. Because now you're kind of taking over his psyche and you're the new character. And so it's a really kind of a struggle because no one likes you. You have a hard time getting through to people. But you work really hard and you put like a lot of work in, right? You as the person, me as the gamer,
right.
I'm going to every lead. I'm following every path. I'm talking to everybody. I'm trying to get much information as I can. And what really struck me at the end of the game, man, it was like heartwarming. I almost like wanted to tear up because like ultimately what happens is you come right at the end of the game, you're confronted by like your police precinct. Because you've been wandering around this case with like very little jurisdiction. You lost your police badge, right? Like, so you're an F up, right?
Yeah.
You're just a total screw up,
right?
And they're about like ready to fire you, so they confront you, and you kind of give your case on why you're still worth it, why you're still worth keeping around,
right?
And as you're giving that case and just kind of like trying to defend yourself from all this bad press and bad situations you made before you even started playing.
Right.
You're trying to let them know, look what I found, look what I discovered. The partner who you've been playing the whole game with, like, chimes in and gives his assessment of you.
Okay.
And it's just like, if you played the game like well, or like you played it honorably and everything he's listing out about you is like me. It's not like just about the character, it's about me. Because everything he lists out is like what I did.
Yeah.
And it's like a redemption story, not for the character, but it's like you helped the character redeem himself. And it's like, man, that was like super emotional because you're kind of sitting there getting beat up and you know all the things that you did well. And then he starts to list them out and it's like, man, thanks, dude. Like, thanks so much for standing up for everything I did.
Yeah.
And it just hits hard. It hits different, right? Where like I wasn't really expecting that to happen. That emotional attachment to the game myself that I had with my character. It kind of made me want to jump back in and try it again, you know, because when I first started the game, I was kind of playing as him.
Yeah.
You know, the drunk idiot. And then as game progressed, I told myself, I'm just going to make all these decisions as if it was me, myself, Ray, playing the game or in that world to do in that case. And I started doing that. So the very first few hours, I was kind of playing as the drunk or whatever because I thought that's what he was. And so I was kind of playing as what he was, not really what I would do.
Right.
And I kind of switched that part way in. And it's crazy because in this game, depending on what stat you choose in the beginning, like different mental audio logs will play, right? Like, remember how I was telling you, you'll be talking to somebody and then like you'll have mental triggers from like what you know from the past, or there might be like an empathy trigger. Like you might be talking to me and then like all of a sudden an empathy roll will occur and I'm successful at it and I get some additional information that it will tell me about like how you responded to me that I would have never really thought about. It's like additional insight. Well, if you play it a different way, like let's say you don't go the empathetic route, you go like a tough guy route. So I didn't go tough guy. I put a few points in my strength. I put it in my mental and my emotional stats.
Yeah.
But you can also put it in like your reflexes or like your strength, your physical strength. But you won't be as smart. But different things will pop up and you might respond differently or you might play the whole game differently just to kind of see how it plays out at the end again.
Right.
To kind of see what happens at the end again. It was almost enough to make me want to play it again.
Yeah.
So that game like left a really strong impact on me.
Okay.
Which is why I was like, I don't know what to play next, man. Like I'm kind of like chasing that experience again. You know how that happens when like you read a great book or watch a good movie. You're chasing that enjoyment again, that experience again.
Right.
Like, so I'm kind of in a sense chasing that game. So I was like, I don't really know what I feel in the mood for. Do I want to play another isometric game? Do I want to give a game like Divinity Original Sin another try? You know, because I kind of, slept on it because the combat was annoying me and it was like long and tedious.
Right.
But it's like, do I want to give another one of these isometric RPGs, these CRPGs, another shot? Because I love Disco Elysium so much, or do I want to kind of jump into something more traditional again and get back to hacking and slashing? And so I ended up playing a little bit of Scarlett Nexus.
Okay.
That new game that just came out.
That you just got for your birthday.
So I ended up playing a little bit of that game, and that one was pretty good. It wasn't great because the world, and then especially after playing Disco Elysium, the dialogue and like the storybook way they tell the story, it's kind of like a visual novel because everything is like still screens. Like, for instance, let me tell you this. One thing that was buggering, it's like a comic book. Exactly. But I'll tell you this much. I'll give them credit. They voice acted pretty much everything. So it's not a lot of reading. You know, in a lot of RPGs, they'll put like the
Mad
two
text
characters'
and
faces
stuff.
up, and you just got to read it all.
Yeah.
There's a lot of voice acting in here, so props to them for that, because that felt like Disco Elysium. Of course, the dialogue wasn't even a fraction as interesting as Disco Elysium, but it was interesting. But what I had a real hard time with was kind of like what you were talking about with Biomutant, which I haven't jumped into that yet. But like, let's say the first 30 minutes of Scarlett Nexus, of the first 30 minutes, like 10 is you playing combat, 20 is like dialogue.
Really?
It's a lot of dialogue.
So they started you off in the tutorial, and then they give you like a heavy amount of story to get you started.
It's like the very first 5 to 10 minutes, you're like doing the tutorial and you're like doing combat.
Right.
And then it's like you getting acquainted in the world, and there's lots of dialogue stops.
Is there like a lot of options of things to do and pick while you're in the world? Is that why there's so much to talk about? Or
no, well, it's just like, okay, so right after the tutorial stage, so they'll start with the cutscene first of all, where you're at, and then like after the tutorial stage, you'll see all your cadets, and you'll just be like, a random dialogue will start, and you're talking with like your buddy about how did you do, what did you do, what did you like, how did you go, just about what just occurred, and then like they'll give you control back, and you'll run forward into the city, and all of a sudden it'll stop because there'll be like people talking, and you'll just comment on it. You'll have like another story of them commenting, what's going on happening here right now, right? And then you'll move forward again, and then it might stop, and another cutscene occurs, and then you go to your next destination, and it's another whole dialogue cutscene that occurs, and it's just like, crap,
Damn.
This is a lot of dialogue. I kind of want to play and see how this game feels.
yeah, that can make you tired after
Exactly.
a minute, man, especially when you're playing it.
I did eventually kind of get over that hump, and like now I'm like into levels, and I'm like actually in levels, and like fighting in the level.
Right.
And the combat's pretty good. I've gotten probably a few hours in. I beat the first boss, and it's like Control meets Ninja Gaiden. I don't know, man. Like, you're hacking and slashing with the sword, but you're using telekinetic powers to throw things at people.
Oh,
so just like Control, it's not as tight or as weighty as Control is.
Right.
Control feels freaking incredible.
Does the environment like alter while you're using the ability, like to let you know that you're using the ability?
Not as much as
that's
Control.
What made Control feel weighty, right? Is because you would demolish a wall or something like that, or at least it would leave like marks or rubble or something like that.
Concrete,
it wouldn't
Chunks.
stay there, but you know, I mean, it would at least show something that.
Well, that was the thing about Control. It didn't matter what was in front of you. You were pulling something to you.
Right.
If there's no like trash can or chairs or whatever, you're ripping the wall off and you're chucking that at somebody.
Right.
Like Control always gave you ammo with your telekinesis. Something has to be like able to be picked up. So it's not just like anything and everything like Control.
So it's like regular games.
It's like regular games.
It's got to be a barrel or something like that.
It's got to be a barrel.
Lift up and then throw.
And all those things kind of have like the button you press R2 like on it, so you know.
Oh, okay. So it's like hovering above it or something.
Or
like
like on it, yeah, or on it.
It's
It's like grayed out, and then when like you cursor over it, when it becomes invisible, you can grab it and check.
That's typical.
Or like another item that's heavier might have an L2 because it's a stronger one.
Okay.
So it's very typical. It's very typical. Like not only in the combat, but the environments feel very, in my opinion, last Jenny, JRPG last Jenny. You know, very.
This
blocky.
is a brand new game, right?
Yeah, very blocky. Yeah, this is a brand new game. So it is fun, but it's not quite as fun as, in my opinion, Control. In my opinion, not even as close. But it's not bad. So in my mind, like this is a decent game. But it was like, man, this just makes me want to play a great RPG, and so I ended up just firing up Persona 5 Royal, and I've been playing that for the last couple days. So,
wait, you're playing Persona 5 Royal again?
Royal. I never finished it.
Oh,
I stopped it to play something else.
Right,
I got like to the first 2 or 3 palaces, and I stopped.
Okay.
So I just jumped back in, even on my old save, and I kind of just fumbled through. Okay, I think I know where I'm at.
Yeah.
Because I've played this game, you know, so many times. And I was like, let me just play a great RPG that has really intriguing dialogue and really intriguing storytelling and really intriguing character development myself.
Right.
Which is kind of like what I was looking for. And the combat's fun enough. So I just jumped back into Persona 5, and so that's what I've been playing the last few days, especially because I got Persona 5 Striker. So I kind of want to get through this, Persona 5, and then jump into Striker.
Does it like continue the story?
It's a direct sequel to Persona 5.
Oh, okay.
The original game. Yeah, Strikers is a sequel.
Okay.
So I do kind of want to see how it flows into Striker.
Right.
So that was kind of like my mindset there too.
Okay.
So that's kind of like what I've been on, man. What about you?
Yeah. So this weekend, I got a chance to play some more of Returnal, right? So,
right.
You know, we were talking about it last week, and you kept telling me like, oh, like what was it, like 5% or some shit like that, like.
Only
you said some percent.
40% of players never even finish their first boss.
Right. So
almost
I was like, man, fuck those odds. Like, I need to get past this first boss. And I like I said before, it matters all about the gun that you get and whatnot. And if you get like the right gun and you can keep proceeding, you know what I mean, then it'll do a lot better.
Sure.
So I was trying to pay attention to some of the hints that you were giving me too, like telling me that the damn, what's that little score number on the side that you use like the calibers for? What does it increase? Like your
proficiency?
Yeah, your proficiency. So yeah, your proficiency
before you pop boxes.
So apparently every box, I didn't know this, but like every damn box has a gun.
Yes.
So just don't open any other boxes.
That's what I was saying. Don't open
or at least
any of
open
them.
like one or two until you get a carbine, and then wait,
Right.
and then just keep going. So I did that. I just opened up like one or two boxes or whatever. I had finally got my carbine gun, so I was like, all right, cool. So I just ran through the areas, you know, just kind of, you know, pacing myself and going through them. You know, I was trying to do like all of the little dead bodies that get left when you're online or whatever, and then, you know, basically just like just avenging them, and then just like running back like as far as I can and getting behind shit, and then just, you know, trying to fight them from afar, because that seems to work best. So I was able to kill quite a few. I was able to get like a lot of stuff, and then I think I got my proficiency up to like 5 or 6. And then I was like,
cracking boxes.
All right, so I started popping boxes. Huh? Yeah. So I think I got like, you know, like a 6 or a 7 or something like that. That
nice.
was a carbine.
And
wow. Then it was
would
allowing
be really
me
good
to
for
be
where
able
you're
to,
at.
Yeah, I think
you're probably shredding.
It gave me the shell. It's like the grenade launcher or whatever.
Right.
It's something shell, like bomb shell or something like that. So I went, you know, I had like full health. And I had quite a few, you know, extra chunks of health. Like I had like
an astronaut figurine.
I didn't have an astronaut figurine.
I had everything ready to go. I'm beating this boss.
Yeah, but I did have so like I had mad parasites, dude. I had like at least 4 to 5 parasites on me.
Yeah.
And there was like
it's funny when that happens, like, you're like covered in them.
Yeah. They're on
like
the back of your leg.
Your
they're like on your
it's
arms.
Like everywhere.
Yeah. They're everywhere. So I had like 4 or 5 parasites. I had like a couple of malignant the bad ones, whatever they call them.
The malfunctions?
Yeah, the malfunctions, with the other ones. So
right.
I had a couple of them, and one of them was my damn map scrambled, and I hate that one because it's just annoying to try to like decipher where you're trying to go. You could do it, you just got to really concentrate, you know? So I had that, and then I happened to find one of those little scanning stations. So I went in there, and I had enough ether because I was doing a lot of shit.
Oh, the checkpoints.
Yeah. So I went inside, crawled inside of one of there, boom, checkpointed me. I'm like, all right, cool. So I went on, dropped down in there, was fighting that sucker, got smashed on. So
you with your new weapon and everything, huh?
Well, it was like I think the problem is I didn't have like I don't know what it was. I had like misjudged something because I hadn't lasted like a long time in the fights before because I always had a shit weapon. So, you know, when he was like teleporting on me and then cutting me, I wasn't maneuvering quick enough. So he kept hitting me, and then he was doing it like quite often.
That's like third phase, I think, or it's one of the later
it's like
phases.
Second.
Yeah.
Second is when he starts doing it, but he amps it up on the third phase, whatever. But the third phase is, you know, he's doing a whole bunch of other shit trying to get you.
Yeah.
But so anyways, I respawned over at my checkpoint, so I'm like, all right, making sure I'm good. You know, my health is full or whatever. I'm gonna go down there. I already know the games he's playing because I was going a little slow, so I knew his movements now. So next thing you know, I'm in there, boom, I'm drilling them down. I'm using my shell shot, popping them down, you know, wrecking them. As soon as it pops up, because I had something that was like reducing my cooldown from my alt like by like 7 or 8 seconds or something like that.
One of your malfunctions?
Yeah, one of my malfunctions as well as the parasites. They were like working together to like reduce my alt fire. So
you had barely
I was
shot,
like,
rare
nice,
shots, huh?
yeah. So I was able
cool.
to pop them, shoot a little bit, dodging. You know what I mean? I
The
noticed
alt fire
that
is what hits the
the
hardest,
red,
man.
the red bullets. Like the first shot will pass you as you move, and the second shot's leading in front of you, so you just keep going the other way. Yeah. So I was figuring that out, and then I knew when he did his little thing to come at you, I just gotta wait till he appears, boom, and dodge. You know what I mean? So I was manhandling his ass. I was working him, so I got him down. Then I was down to like the third of his health bar or whatever, and I was like, oh man, starting to get to the nitty gritty. My health is going low because I'm getting hit by like random little shit, and I just like was waiting for my ghost shell so I could pop it off. So I'm sitting there firing at him, and I'm like, trying to focus, like trying not to lose focus of the whole thing, the whole scope.
Yeah.
But so I managed. I got that last shot. Pop one off, boom, pow, rocked him. His ass dropped. I was like, but so I was stoked, and then I finished that up and went into the area, and I was like, damn, these little data cubes, it's something new that I see. I'm like, where the hell am I supposed to put one at? But it's right there.
It's right when you walk
in front of the thing. And apparently you could just, if you've got the gumption, you can just keep on fighting the first boss and keep throwing new data cubes in there, because there's always a data cube and a port in that first boss, right? In that zone or whatever. So I had just, I was just checking things out. So I was like, okay, what happens? I had gotten to the unlocked the area, and then I went into the second area or whatever, and I was in the desert region, and I was roaming around in there. The desert region is actually pretty easy. It's a lot of space, so it's a lot of ground to maneuver in. There's no ledges that you got to fall into or whatever, you know what I'm saying? The things are up in the air. So the only problem that I was having was that I was getting a lot of malfunctions. And they were wanting shit like meleeing and stuff like that. And I'm like, dude, I ain't meleeed this whole damn game. Like,
see, I melee a lot, so I was gonna ask you how you felt
rarely
about that.
ever melee, but I only melee the ones with the shields around them, the red shields.
You have to melee.
Or if something is like on me and I'm trying to reload, I'll melee and then try to pull back or whatever. But most of the time I don't melee. So if I've got a malfunction that says I got to melee 6 enemies, I'm calling it a wash. I'm just walking around with this bitch until I get something to take it off of me or whatever, There was actually like quite a few things that would like, if you had a parasite, you can get like extra pushback damage or something like that from the more parasites you have. But some of the parasites I had were like, okay, not that much of a bother. And some were kind of a tad annoying in a sense, like the fall damage. So like I think I used one consumable that teleports you to any room, and so it was teleporting me into those yellow rooms, the ones that where you stand in and the ground breaks.
I hate
so
those
it was
rooms.
Teleporting me into those rooms, but they're teleporting you in the sky, so you're dropping down, and I'm taking fall damage and hurting from that. So I'm like, damn, dude, this thing is annoying. If I keep I kept getting those consumables, so I was trying to like time it so if I drop from the sky, I try to do a dash before I hit the ground, so that way it breaks my fall. And then sometimes I'd be in a room that did not, have anything like that I would take fall damage, or I would jet into like a room of laser beam floors, where you gotta do your little slide the fox, type of dodge in there and then get out, whatever. But yeah, so I tried figuring out things like, what happens, because I had died and I had to restart. So it's like, what happens if I go back into the boss room? Like, do I have to fight the boss, or is it like something you have to trigger?
So you died again and you restarted?
Yeah, I died and then restarted. But I wasn't disheartened by that. It was like, oh, cool. I got that far. I already know that I can maintain in the rest of the rooms, the regular rooms. And I don't have to deal with the boss anymore unless I want to get another data cube and go down there. And I would only do that if I had a decent gun. You know what I mean? It's like the Shadow Keeper or something like that. What gun is that? It's almost like the carbine, except it has an alt fire that gives you like void beam and stuff like that. I forgot what gun it is. It's
I don't
Shadow
think I really
something.
used it too much. I think I know what you're
that
talking
one's
about.
dope. That sucker spits, and it has a lot of bullets. So that one has become my new favorite gun. Like if I find that, I'm like, that's it. And if I get Void Beam was wrecking. You just literally point and click, and it's like a beam comes out and you just hold it.
That's pretty good too.
There's a rocket launcher that's good?
Yeah, I saw people on like the third biome getting.
Oh, okay. Well,
So
yeah.
there you go, man. 20 hours, first boss down. 100 hours
I
more to
only,
go,
I only
man.
have played
100 hours more to go, and you'll have it.
I only have played 20 in there, but I was just maneuvering through the world, and something happened where I came into an area, and then I don't know what happened. I think I just got caught off guard or whatever. It was just like a bunch of stuff popping up around me. I ended up getting caught. But I feel like the second biome is going to be fairly easy to get through. Again, it's just a matter of the boss, getting through the boss.
There's some tricks in the second biome, dude.
Yeah, okay.
There's some tough enemies in the second biome.
Yeah, I've seen some that do hard, like the one that is shielded up and he just has his face that you got to hit or whatever in the front.
Did you ever come across like the humanoid that was like kneeling down studying something?
Oh yeah, the ancients.
Yeah,
the ancient dudes.
He was in like when I played, he was in a room that had like a pulsing thing going on above me.
You're right. That's why I saw him at. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Did you fought him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought he was cake. I mean, he would run up on you and do the slice thing, but you just dodge.
Yeah, but he was kind of like an actual mini boss versus like a normal creep.
Yeah, he took a couple more hits.
Yeah, he wasn't. He was like the creeps are. Easy.
I felt like he was kind of like a slightly stronger version than the green guys that just like be teleported and stuff.
Yeah,
because he teleported and then he did that boss slash at you. But he was fairly easy to take down. I just had to remember if he disappears, I gotta be looking at my mini map to see if he's behind me so that I can turn and.
I was just like pillar fighting him, but I thought he was pretty tough. He wasn't not just normal creep, but you run into more of those guys throughout the
right.
level.
Yeah, I came across like 2 of them while I was going through the game and whatnot. But I've been having fun with it. You know what I mean? So I've been enjoying it. I definitely see how it can be like, man, damn, I gotta start all over again. But the fact that once you have the key, to the gates, you could just do all of those biomes and collect stuff and and get your guy up and then just keep moving on forward and whatnot. And there's like, it seemed like there was a lot of treasures in that second world and the Crimson one or whatever. But I was hoping that I'd be able to get the grappling hook as soon as I beat the boss, but apparently it's a lot
Which
further
boss?
down. The first boss.
Oh no.
So
I think
I was thinking I was gonna.
I think it's the second biome. You get after you beat the second boss. I think you get it.
Oh, okay. So
I didn't beat the second boss. I've only fought him one time.
Oh, okay. All right.
I got really close.
Yeah.
But I didn't beat him.
Yeah,
but,
I think my highest.
I don't like the
damage was like 8. 8 was the highest damage that I could get my guns at.
Okay.
For
you had damage at 8 cubes.
The
stars was 8.
Like the proficiency or whatever was matching me at 8, so I was able to get 8. I think like my damage cubes, the highest one I was able to get like extra was I think like 5 or
That's
6,
gun,
something
man.
like that.
It's a really strong gun.
Yeah, I was having an outstanding run.
I never had a gun that hit that.
That was the run that I beat the first boss and then I kept going. Like I had a
1 damage carbine where I beat the first boss with.
Okay.
Not no 5 damage.
I think I had like a 2 or 3 when I beat the first boss, and then it was all of the extra shit that was in the Crimson area that that made my shit.
I found like another one in the desert. I think they had like 2 or 3 on it. And that helped a lot. That's what I fought that mini boss with.
Right.
And I was going through that zone fine, but it was pretty tough. But the final boss was pretty rough. I don't like having to go back and recollect everything. That bothers me. Like, that annoys me. So that's why I'm discouraged whenever it happens, because I don't want to do all the work to have to get what you got all over again.
Yeah.
I'd rather, in my mind, it would just be more fun if I could just keep progressing.
Yeah, I get that, and I understand that, but it seems like the tricks that you taught me, that you told me about or whatever, were a good way to finesse it. Because there's a lot of treasure chests that you just come across, and they could be an ass gun, and it's just like, damn, like, I can't do nothing with this, because I've been getting at this low proficiency. But if I can just go around, if I can get a decent gun with a carbine, you can maneuver around a lot of stuff. I mean, I think
you're
in
much
that
stronger
one,
with the carbine.
Yeah, in that one I came across less locked rooms with that one, so it allowed me more space to run around in. So it's probably a lot more tougher if I had a locked room, because you've only got the room to traverse in or whatever. But yeah, so I was playing that, and then also I had purchased Paper Mario. So
that's right.
For the Nintendo Switch.
That's right.
So I finally, motherfucking Nintendo, man, they finally had a deal. Well, Target had a deal.
Right.
So Target was selling it for like $29.99. So I picked it up. I was just like, oh, I've been wanting Paper Mario because I love the Paper Mario series, and this ain't no remake. So I was like,
it's
oh,
like a little RPG version this time.
Yeah, right? Origami King. Well, Paper Mario is always an RPG version.
Right.
So, but yeah, so I was playing it, and I'm enjoying it, man. It's a fun game. You know, the little aspects and stuff like that of, you know, lining up the guys and fighting them. You know, it's turn-based or whatever, but it's simple, you know, but I like the story and then the gameplay while you're doing it. The combat's, you know, whatever, but it's all the other stuff that you're doing that's pretty fun. So
absolutely.
It seems like it's definitely like a good time waster, you know what I mean? Like if I got
it's
nothing
chill.
else I'm playing, or like
it's chill and fun.
Yeah, like I was playing a lot of it while I was in the car ride, you know, going to Universal. So, you know, I was just, you know, playing the game, you know, playing the levels and stuff like that, and I was enjoying it. So it was fun. But that's it. That's all I've been playing.
You did it, man.
So I finally got within the 50 percentile or whatever.
51 percentile, man.
I'm getting past the first boss. So now I gotta find out the statistics to get past the second. You know what I mean? And just keep going. Maybe I'll be able to give you some pointers. You know, like, hey, you gotta do it like this or something like that. Whatever. But I'm definitely gonna play some more and see if I can keep going. You just let me know when you want it back, and I'll slide it back to you.
I'm pretty much sure I'm not gonna put the 100 hours in to beat it. So
no. Well, it might not even take 100 once you get the finesse of it. You might come across a great gun, you know, doing your little deal where you left all your treasure chests and then boom, 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 pop one, boom, get one you really love and just wreck face. Did you ever try the challenges too? So once you beat the first boss, they open up challenges. So every week there's a new challenge.
Oh no, I don't think I did
and basically they tell you like, oh, first biome, second, third, fourth, whatever, sixth. And then they give you a gun, and then you just got to go through the biome, and then it's like a matter of points. Like everything you collect, everybody you kill or whatever is always points added to your total. And then at the end of it, if you can complete it, or whatever, you get like a grade scale of like points that you've made accumulated the whole entire time, and then it puts you on like a roster board or whatever, and then at the end you get like 5 ether or something like that you can use towards, you know, your gameplay.
Right.
So the first time I tried to do the challenge, I was like, oh, there's challenges. I had just died, so I was like, oh well, it says that if you try the challenge, it's gonna reset your cycle that you're on. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just do it now since my first time seeing it. So went in there, and they give you this gun. It's this badass gun, man. I forgot what kind of gun it was, but this gun was mean. It was like you hold it down to charge it, and then if you just release it, it was like one-shotting everything. The shit had like 9-10 damage cubes on it. It was like an OP gun. So I was like, okay, let's do this. Then I was thinking, like, as I'm running through it, and I'm literally one-shotting everything. And I was like, damn, dude, if I do this, like, can I beat the whole game in a challenge like this? But I was recalling, oh, it's only one biome. So once you finish the biome, that's it. It's over. So they won't allow you to beat the game using the challenge weapon or whatever.
Right.
But that challenge was like pretty simple, man. I mean, they had mad health items everywhere. You know, it was tons of parasites, malfunctions was out there, you know, that you could possibly get and stuff.
If Housemarque adds a save system, then I would consider playing it again.
Okay, they got
where I can save and restart.
You want save scum?
I want to save scum. Yeah. On that game, yeah, I do. Absolutely.
Okay. But I definitely see the allure of the challenge in it because I'm challenged, and it's like it's just enough of a challenge that I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. So it's like, okay, this is doable. The first boss I could see, it's doable. I just need the right situation. So it's almost like one of those things where, like, if you're going through it, like, oh, if you don't have this, this, and this, just wash it. Start again. You know what I mean? If you don't have, you know, by a certain point, like, if you found the room and then you don't have this, this, and this, like, just wash. Do it over again. Because, you know, that room is probably not a good setup for you or whatever. Right. And that might be what it comes up to. But, you know, if I can start storing up ether, and then every time I find one of those little chambers, just hop in it. You know what I mean? You could definitely checkpoint and save your way. That thing was helpful. If I can find the Moon Men, you know what I mean? That would also be helpful.
It kind of adds a little bit of like save scumming. I
mean,
it's
it just
like
adds reassurance. That's not save scumming.
To me, it's no different than a continue button.
Yeah, but it's not in the game. You know what I mean? Those things are in the game. So yeah,
I know, but I'm saying it's a psudo form of that, right? They put it in there,
right?
They just don't want you to do it any more than once or twice.
Yeah, for sure. Because you cannot go back and rescan your body a second time. It's done.
Right. Even if you have the ether, you can't.
Right. Yeah, you have to find a new.
So it's like they understand they want to give you like a save scum feature, but then they limit you on how much you can use it.
Right. So, but yeah, that's it for the games we've been playing. So on to the quick shots. The first one we have is God of War Ragnarok. Seems to be getting rumored to be at this PS event, which is also rumored.
Right.
so we don't have an actual PS event that's been mentioned, right? But we know like 2 podcasts ago or whatever, we were talking about how they had trademarked it. So it's like all good signs, all things are pointing to a PS event. Now we got God of War talks, and they're talking about showing a trailer with some gameplay, man. So I know everybody and their mom been looking for God of War Ragnarok, right? It was teased as it was going to be like one of them opening lineup games, of the first top of the, when the console release wasn't there. Maybe top of the year wasn't there. Not this year.
Right.
Next year at some point. So, I mean, what are you thinking about this this showing? The fact that it's some more news about the PS event, and then the fact that we may actually get to see some God of War stuff this time.
Right. I think we need to see gameplay. This game was revealed going on a year ago, and we haven't seen a lick of it. And it was supposed to release this year, right? We've gone over that debacle, and so I think that we do. I think it's time that we see gameplay. However, I'm not like super excited for it if it's the same as God of War remake in 2019 or 2018, whatever. I think it was from 2019.
Right.
If it's just the same gameplay. Like, so for instance, when they revealed the gameplay for God of War 2019, that was jaw-dropping.
Yeah.
Because it was so opposite of what we had gotten.
We've ever been playing.
Right, from the original God of War.
Right.
Completely new. All new.
And you've got Atreus. It's like, whoa, who is this? You know what I mean? Like,
really
I need to know the story. Yeah.
Really cool aspect there. Like, I don't expect it to be any different than that. I think they're sticking with that formula.
Yeah.
So, because of that, I'm not as excited to see gameplay.
Okay.
I mean, What I mean by that is they need to show gameplay, because this game was supposed to come out this year, and we haven't seen a lick of gameplay left yet.
Right.
So, like, just principally speaking, they need to show gameplay already. So this isn't that shocking to me. This would make sense.
Yeah.
That they finally show at this next PS event, and of course, with the PS event, Sony needs to, of course, steal the thunder back. That whatever E3 gave Microsoft or Nintendo, Sony needs to steal that thunder back.
Right.
Sony likes to do that. Let them get something and then just rip it out from them and stop their steam, which is why I think partly why they left E3, because they wanted to do something after the event. So they wanted to have like an event occur and then after it steal everyone's thunder.
Yeah, it seemed like that would have been really key if they had done it like a couple of days after the E3 thing was over, or like the next week, the following week.
The longer they wait, the less it works.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they're still giving, Microsoft and all these other, things all of their, talk, all of the news outlets is talking about all that stuff they saw from E3.
Right.
So they're not mentioning anything really from PlayStation.
It does seem though, like once Sony does something, they steal all the talk.
Yeah.
And it kind of stays that way. It's a weird to me. It's like once Sony does something, it seems like they become the talk of the town and they stay the talk of the town.
But when you ain't got shit to talk about, you start finding stuff. And then you start finding Nintendo and Xbox and stuff like that.
So I think it would be cool to see like the setting that we're going to be playing in this time around. If it's any different, if it's still like the Frozen North.
Should be like a continuation, of the story.
Right. So that's the thing. If it's just like the same environments, the same thing, then it's not as exciting to me.
I don't think it'll be the same environments. I think it'll be new locations.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I want to see the setting. I want to see the new place, the new environments that we're in, And so I'm curious to see how that changes. If we get any more new weapons to play with, Those are the things I'm curious about. But I feel a little bit misled with this game, and so it's lost a little luster in my opinion.
Okay.
Just because how I feel about the way they revealed the game and then just completely reneged on it. That annoys me. I don't like to.
I feel it wasn't like a renege per se, but I
feel
feel
100% a renege.
Well, I feel like a lot of things got changed just because of what went down with COVID and all of the like closing of businesses and a lot of these gaming developers, everybody's just in one building working. I mean, they got their branches, spread out, but this is Santa Monica, you know what I mean? So everybody should have been working in Santa Monica, but they
announced the game during COVID. So they knew COVID was affecting them, and they still gave you a time.
Didn't they announce it like before the lockdowns happened?
Mm-mm.
I could have sworn because this was like
February last year.
Did the
lockdowns happened in March?
Well, the PlayStation came out in 2019, didn't it?
No, the PlayStation came out last year.
Okay.
So it was like towards the end of last year they revealed it.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. Maybe they thought they could do it and then just realized they couldn't. It wasn't going to work. I don't know.
That's one way to take it. I take it as though they were using it to sell consoles. They announced all these games coming out for it to hype you up.
I definitely think that PlayStation announces all of the games that are in works to get you to buy the console.
Absolutely.
For sure. So I would maybe put that more under PlayStation than under,
I do. I do put it more on PlayStation. I think PlayStation is the one who's basically forcing these studios to put out dates and even pricing, like with Returnal.
Right.
I don't think Housemarque expected to sell their game for $70. I think Sony came along and said, nope, that's what you're going to sell it for. And they had no choice. So yeah, I do put a lot more of the blame on Sony. So that's what I'm more so saying with, it's more so a Sony thing in general that I'm a little bit frustrated with. Sony makes great games. I love Sony. I prefer playing on my PlayStation. The controller's great, but these little underhanded things, and they're always happening, whether it be with crossplay, whether it be with announcing game titles and then reneging on the dates, whether it be saying they're going to have 10 million consoles at launch and they have 5. I know COVID exists. I just don't like the blatant reneging.
Yeah, because remember we had saw that article that was stating that that Sony was replying to like all of the drought concerns and stuff like that, and they were saying, "Oh, no, we have more than enough. Like we're good there. We're not seeing like a reduction in production, because of this or whatever." And then, there's all the scarcity going on.
Exactly.
So it's like, okay, where was that at?
It's just a lot of negative things that I haven't been happy with Sony, whether it be closing down the stores. They reneged. They turned their back on that.
Yeah.
But it's just one story after another with Jim Ryan that we hear these things with. He just wants bangers only, so no creativity anymore. Just little things are rubbing me in a dissatisfied direction, and so because of that, I'm not as excited for Ragnarok as I was. Although, of course, I think it's going to be a great game. I'm sure it's going to be close to a 10 when it comes out.
Yeah.
It's going to be masterpiece. I know it will be. I'm just not as excited for it, and I know it's so far away. I know it's probably not going to come out to holiday next year at the earliest.
Yeah, more than likely. That's what it's going to be. I mean, it's a banger. It's one of their top of the line, IPs. So I feel like they would hold it, even if it was done. They would hold it and maybe, leave Santa Monica that space, to like, hey, you got 6 months until, October or November to just like fine tune it. You know what I mean? Figure out your game plan or what you're going to do afterwards or whatever, but fine tune it so that it can go gold in October and be produced to be ready to sell by like November or December.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
Yeah, I know they're pushing for it. They have to get it out. It's just we're still, waiting for games. I feel like we're just sitting around waiting for games. I'm hoping this holiday season, I'm hoping in 2022 we start to see, back to the swing of things here, where games are coming out regularly, brand new releases. I saw one list, dude, where someone listed out like all of Sony's first party studios. And there's like 15, there's like a lot of them. And almost everything there, it's rumored or to be announced. There's like so many studios, dude. It's like, what are you all working on? What are you all doing? We got like 4 out of the 5 we have an idea, like of what they're doing, and the rest it's all clueless.
But at the same time, there's been plenty of times where we have griped about just getting shown a trailer or something like that. You know, show me gameplay, or don't show me something that's out 2 years from now. Show me something that's coming out this year or whatever.
Absolutely.
So maybe that's the case. Maybe they're just not showing you anything because they don't have anything that's ready right now.
I know, that's what's so crazy to me. There's just nothing.
Yeah, I mean, you would think that there would be a lot of stuff that's just ready to shoot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You got a new console dropping, like all your studios should be dropping something.
That's what I'm saying. It's weird. I get COVID, but still, it's been like so many years. You'd think that we would know something. It's just weird. It's just really weird. I'm not sure how to take it all, but I'm hoping 2022 we get back to normal here, back on the rails.
For sure. I mean, things are already starting to change, but you know, GoW Ragnarok showing up at this PS event, that's cool. I'm hoping that next year that they announce that there's going to be an actual PSX event, and that we'll be able to actually play it or something like that. You know, if it's not out already, I would hope that'd be out by then, because PSX normally took place in like December. Yeah, like early December, you know, or whatever.
See, I wouldn't be surprised, man, if they push Ragnarok to 2020, like January 23, like early 2023. I would not be surprised.
That'd be rough. But I mean, they very well could.
It's just weird because it's kind of like with the Horizon situation. You have the exact same engine, the exact same situation. It should be easier the second time around. Once you've done it once, it should be easier the second time around. Once you've made that shoe once, the second one should be quicker. Yeah. And it doesn't seem like that's the case.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like that's the issue with some of the games, you know, because it's like, oh, it's so similar. You know what I mean? It's just like a continuation. They did nothing to like improve. You know what I mean? So maybe, you know, they're trying to improve some stuff. You know,
that's what we'll know.
That's all we can hope for, right?
Yeah, we'll see.
It's just better than the first one or whatever. But, you know, on to the next quick shot. There was rumors of a Dead Space reboot, right? Or a remake. Well,
last week we reported that EA was going to revive an old IP.
Right.
And they had that little tweet you said.
About Dead.
Will come alive or whatever.
Yeah, hopefully we're not dead before it happens.
Right, hopefully we're not dead before it happens. And everyone assumed Dead Space. We did too. We speculated a little bit on what else it could be, but it felt like Dead Space, and sure enough, it is. And I talked to one homie in the comments section. I can't remember his name. He leaves a detailed reaction to our show, and one of his reactions was,
"It's not Arachnid."
No, it's not Arachnid. Okay. One of his reactions was about Dead Space and how he liked Dead Space.
Oh, was it Brahms?
Huh?
Was it Brahms?
I think it might have been Brahms.
Okay.
Yeah. And he was like, I asked him, so then what would you prefer? Would you prefer a remake or would you prefer a brand new entry into the series? And he wanted all new entry. So he's going to be disappointed with this news, but it's not going to be an all-new entry. It's supposed to be a remake. Now, my next question was kind of like for you. They kept tossing the words around. If you read the article.
It was an article that was on, what was it, IGN?
They keep
No,
tossing,
this one was on Kotaku that we saw.
Yeah.
And they used Dead Space as a reboot. It's actually a remake, but then they were calling it a reboot. Within the
they're tossing the language around, right? They're saying for its Dead Space game, Motive has taken a note from Capcom's Resident Evil remakes. Like Resident Evil 2 remake, expect Dead Space to use the original game as a strong foundation, but it also should have modern visuals and likely bring new gameplay mechanics. So they keep throwing around this word remake and reboot. And when I hear those words, those are two different things to me.
Yeah.
Remake to me is the exact identical game being remade. Reboot is
adding
like
some touches. A remake is like Demon Souls.
A remake is like Demon Souls. Demon Souls is a remake.
It's got the whole core original game there.
Everything's
just
there.
Improved on some things.
Right. It's all visually polished. They added textures. They added a whole new engine.
Right.
and they improved on some of the concepts, but for the most part, everything is original.
Right.
It's all like OG, right? A reboot to me is like God of War, where you had the original God of War, right? Top down, isometric swiping, and then you went first person or third person behind the shoulder.
Right.
Hack and slash, story, narrative driven. You have your
and now you're adding another,
like
another person into the story.
Yeah, like Last of Us, you have the two characters talking and building with each other.
Axes and stuff like that. You don't even have the chains of chaos.
It's not
anymore.
just chains. It's like an axe. It's much more natural. Much more normal weapons. You're hacking and slashing with a hatchet rather than fist of power or whatever. That's a reboot to me. And so I'm wondering, what is this? Is this a remake of Dead Souls 1?
Plus, it was like old man Kratos. It wasn't young Spartan Kratos. You know?
It's like...
So it's like they continued the story, but yet started
but
it
rebooted
over again.
The whole game and its play
to let
mechanics.
you know that it's like the first of its kind in another line. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so maybe EA will do something like that, make it feel like it's a continuation. But when they keep using the remake, it makes me think that they're going to literally take the original story and retell it.
So let me ask you, because I don't recall, right? It's been a long time since I played Dead Space 1, 2, 3. Did they use the same character for Dead Space 1, 2, and 3?
If I remember right, they did.
Okay.
And I do remember as you move through those games, he actually, because in the first one he had no voice.
Right.
And then he started getting the voice and became a character.
But I think that was just them improving the game.
Right. That's just them improving the game. So it was going in that narrative direction, like God of War. Right, but I guess I'll ask you, what would you prefer? Would you prefer them take Dead Space 1 again and just, do a Demon Souls effect on it, like totally polish it up, make it look way better than it did, and replay that again? Or would you rather the reboot God of War style, where like they kind of re-envisioning of the game?
Well, to fall in line with how I've always thought, right? I don't want to pay $70, $60 for a game that was just redone and spazzed up a little bit. You know what I mean?
But if it's on the Demon Souls level,
unless it has to be like really good. You know what I mean? Demon Souls level. But I mean, even Demon Souls, I didn't pay full price on. You know what I mean? I wanted to get it, but I waited until I got it for a price that was less than full price.
But we would all agree that was probably worth the price tag, even though you didn't pay it. It's worth $70. It's a great
game. If you never played the Demon Souls series, I would suggest that I would recommend that you go and get it. You know what I mean? Pay whatever it costs.
Yeah, but basically what I'm saying is there's no debate that Sony was right to make it $70.
No,
that makes sense.
It's worth $70, but do I myself want to pay for it? No. Do I want to pay $70 for it? No. Well, but it's worth $70.
But I'm talking about like where Returnal, there was a big debate in the community whether a game like that should ever even be placed at $70. Where Demon Souls, we all agree that it should be. Yeah,
and the only reason that there's such a debate is because Housemarque is an indie studio,
and they make and it's a roguelike,
and it was a roguelike game. We haven't seen any, if any, roguelike games that were just made from AAA studios or whatever. Maybe there are some. I just don't know. That's normally like an indie type of thing, possibly. And then for it to be at such a high amount, right? This opening $70 that PlayStation's been trying to run into the ground. You know what I mean? It's there and it's staying there or whatever, So
I'm just saying where it has to be, but I would only consider like Demon Souls to be that. Like if they did a remake of, for instance, this Prince of Persia, the way it's looking, that can never be a fully charged AAA price. It looks too
ass with what we've seen recently for it to be $70
so for the most part,
$40.
I wouldn't think that a remake should be $70 or full price, 60 or 70. I'll use that interchangeably because some people are still doing 60 and some people are doing 70.
Right. So I would definitely love to see a complete reboot. You know what I mean? Like, have that same character if you like, and then put him in a new situation, but make it like Dead Space 1. So it's just like, it's the story's going to continue from here. You know what I mean? God of War, that shit. That's cool.
I
don't necessarily want to recopy the same gameplay that I played before. It's been a long time, so I would remember some things, but not everything.
Right.
But it's just like, give me a whole new story here. Like, I don't want to keep playing the same thing. I feel like if I knew if it was just like, they improved on like, the gameplay a little bit, but it's the same story. There's nothing that's changed. It just looks better. Then I'm letting that sit. I'm not buying that off top. Like, that's going to be one of those games that I'm waiting to see if it ever comes on PlayStation Plus for me for free, or I just catch it on like some crazy sale, like $20 or something like that, and I decide to get it. You know what I mean?
I don't even know if I would rebuy it as a remake at all, to be honest. Except for the show, just to play it, give my feedback for the show. Normally speaking, I probably wouldn't buy it.
I'll probably
it would have to be
GameFly that.
It would have to be like a Demon Souls level, astronomical level improvement for me to play it through again.
So when you're saying like Demon Souls level, you're just saying, in your opinion, how great you deem Demon Souls, it would have to be as great as how you think Demon Souls is.
Just how
it has to be on that level for you to want to re-spend money on it like that.
Right.
Not saying that it's not a great game or that it's not on Demon Souls level.
I thought Prince of Persia was a great game.
I loved Prince of Persia.
Prince of Persia was an incredible game.
Out.
Yeah,
don't
Prince
give
of Persia,
me that same type of shit.
Right.
Now.
Prince of Persia was a great game. Different. It has to be completely repolished and re-engined. Like re-engined.
It has to be revamped.
So you're completely re-engineing that thing. So you're basically remaking it from the ground up. Yeah, you may be using that game as your template like they did with Demon Souls.
Right.
But it's completely re-engined. You're not just dolling up what's already existing. Like, it needs to be like a complete redo. A complete, remake. A complete remake. When I went by remake, to me that's in totality a complete remake. Mm-hmm. But they don't seem to do that with remakes. Bluepoint seems to do that more frequently than anyone else. Like, I thought Shadow of the Colossus remake for PS4 was pretty darn basically a remake.
Yeah, it was.
But lots of other remakes just don't seem to live up to the muster.
Was Shadow of Colossus really a remake, or was that just like a
remake? It wasn't a remaster.
Or
it was a remake. It was a remake. Mm-hmm. So they rebuilt the whole engine. The whole game was remade.
Okay.
But Bluepoint did that one too. So Bluepoint, they're just the masters of remakes, and so
they seem to be the grand wizards.
They're the grand wizards of it. Yeah, like they're the ones that do a really great job on it. So I'm hoping that Dead Space goes in the reboot direction.
Yeah.
And they kind of reimagine even like the game itself and how it's played, kind of like what Capcom did with Resident Evil, as this article mentions.
Yeah.
That's what I would like to see. Rather than, even more so than just going with the Dead Space 4, even though that's what I know what homie said on the thing. Right. I'd rather see like a reimagining of it, because there's a lot of great stuff going on with that game.
Yeah, for sure. So something else that you said you would like to have seen, right, was Marvel's Avengers, allowing you to just play any character you wanted to play while you're going through that game. And it looks like, what was it? A couple months ago, they were like, hey, we're going to give a trial, during this period. See how you guys like it. We're going to let you guys play any of the characters. So you can have a whole team of Hulks, whatever. You can have 2 Hulks on the team. Whatever you want to do, you could play that. And I guess there was enough good, response from that, and they've decided to make that permanent now.
Right.
So it's kind of like,
it's not permanent; it's official. It's part of the game. Which
It's just, that's how it's gonna be. Is you can play as any character, which should have been done on day one, right? I don't even know why that was a holdup.
I know Mark kind of gave me some pushback trying to justify it, but it was always a real big complaint for me.
Yeah,
because
if I've been working with one character and that one character is boss and I'm playing with other people, like, let me just rock with that one character.
Absolutely. And like, you don't have to step on your buddy's toes. Like, what if you guys both like Hulk? I just think that's such a common situation, in my opinion. I think it happens all the time.
Yeah.
You and I played the exact same character in Destiny.
Yeah.
It just happens all the time.
We were playing the exact same character in Grounded. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
So it's like,
like the same class. Like, you choose the exact same class with friends all the time.
Right.
We happen to not choose the same class in Outriders, but, it could have very well easily have happened, I bet you there's a friend on my friends list who plays Outriders who did choose the exact same class as me, and if I ever wanted to play with them, I couldn't.
Right.
How moronic. Like, to me, that's just pure moronacy. And so, that's even a word. And so, it's like, I just couldn't believe that they didn't allow that in the original game. And so I'm glad they're fixing that. They're going to keep fixing their game, but we've all forgotten about it already.
Yeah, well, there's probably like a whole handful of
maybe Game Pass, right?
In the comments that might. Hey, if you still playing Marvel's Avengers, man, go ahead and comment. Comment down below. Let us know if you still playing that shit.
Good on you.
But I know my father-in-law, he bought that joint like day one. And he ain't popped that bitch in forever, dude.
I know.
He is not. I asked him, hey, man, you should play it. Nah, man, I ain't played that in a while. So, it's kind of one of those things. Like, it was cool when, the idea of it was cool when they first announced it. But then once, like, you start, it's available to play, there's, like, a lot of things just like, what?
Everything fell apart when the demo released.
I still have not played the game, right? So I tried the free trial or whatever that they gave. That was like, it was cool, whatever. But the fact that I still have like all of these different, different pieces of gear to put on my character that increase all of my stats and stuff and add, different builds and everything. But I can't see any of that shit. Just blows me away. Why are we even playing this game? Why is this thing still here? Like, y'all should have just held this and added all of this stuff. I understand skins. Skins should be extra, or make it so that you see all that stuff on top of the skins.
Or this is what I would say:
like,
just have an extra square in your character. Your character pull up. There's one extra square called outfits, and you can drag an outfit in there if you want a full outfit.
Right.
Or you can pull it out of there, and you can buy outfits, and your guy can have an outfit that just covers his whole character up. Don't like make it ingrained in the game. It's just lazy. And when this game was first coming out, we were watching the war rooms, and we were hyped about it.
Yeah,
we
were getting stoked, man.
And the moment that demo came out, and we learned, oh wow, only I can be Hulk and you can't.
Yeah.
Oh wow, why does every character kind of feel the same? Oh wow, why does it seem like I'm not wearing any gear?
Yeah.
Oh, like all these little things came up that made no sense, that felt like a cash grab, and it was.
Yeah.
And they're learning from their mistake, but they really dropped the ball on this one.
I don't think they're gonna get it quick enough. You know what I mean? If they still haven't shown items yet by now, I think we're past that. Like, I think it's gonna be is what it is, and like they're gonna try to add these little things in, like adding the Black Panther and stuff like that into the group, into the equation. But I don't think it's gonna be enough.
No one cares, man.
Yeah, right.
I mean, Hawkeye didn't work for me, and I wanted to play Hawkeye. Yeah. Basically, because I knew when you guys had told me that they all play the same, I was like, well, that's no fun. I don't want to play now.
Right.
I thought Hawkeye would be a unique, fun experience. Unique is the key word there, and I'm almost positive if I played, he'd feel just like the Hulk throwing rocks but arrows.
Yes.
Right, and I have a feeling that's what would happen, and the combat would feel like Captain America, but I'm just in a different skin. I'm in Hawkeye. Exactly. So that was come on, dude. Like, when people don't just want a skin. Like, I want to play, I want to feel like Captain America is entirely different than Black Widow. I want to feel like Iron Man and Thor are two completely different feeling characters. It's just everything about it screamed lazy. Everything about it.
Yeah. I feel like Hulk shouldn't have been able to like do projectiles or whatever. Like, maybe just leave him as a pure melee character, but just give him the ability to lock onto something and leap at it and smash it from out of the air.
You have to make it feel unique. Like, absolutely. You have to make every character feel unique.
It's just like when you can just repeatedly smash into the ground, pull a piece of rock up, throw it, and just keep doing that.
Well, now I'm Thor throwing my hammer now. So what fun is this, right? It's like it's just there's not enough
your
uniqueness.
Iron Man targeting, that's the same as firing an arrow or anything else. It is what it is. But yeah, so Marvel's Avengers, they're changing that stuff. Kudos to everybody still playing it. Like I said, down in the comments, let us know who is actually still playing it. And let's move on to the next quick shot we got. There's rumors of a Control spinoff. So, Control, I know you played that game. You really enjoyed that game.
Loved it.
I thought that game was really awesome as well. I didn't beat it. I did play it for a cool minute and then moved on to some other things or whatever. But it looks like there's some talks of there being like another game set in the Control world. So not a Control 2, but, the same Control world, those cops. What do they call it? The Federal Bureau. The
Bureau of Control.
Yeah. So
the Federal
FBC,
Bureau.
or whatever. So the FBC would still be involved and stuff would be going on. So I mean, that sounds cool. I'm not really like crazy stoked about it because we didn't see anything yet. So, but it'll be interesting to see where they take it. But
I'm curious about what they'll do with it. I'm trying to think about what they could do. They could maybe go in like an RPG, CRPG kind of direction like Disco Elysium, where it's a lot of talking and investigating things, because a lot of it is very investigative centered.
Yeah.
Where you're investigating what happened to this guy, what happened to that guy. So you can kind of go in like a detective direction with it, or maybe a puzzle direction, because there's some instance where you come across like objects of power, they call them in that game.
Yeah.
That you kind of go in and you kind of solve the puzzle.
Right.
But maybe you could just like do a more depth puzzles, like a Portal thing, where you're like doing like really in depth puzzles.
Yeah,
there's lots of cool things you could do.
Artifact hunting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it doesn't
like
have to be combat.
Yeah, you're at the FBC and you've got pings of like artifacts being all over the place.
Yeah, maybe you're just an agent.
Just going to see.
You're like a detective and you're an agent and you're just uncovering and learning things about it, because it was so mysterious.
Yeah,
like the world was so stinking mysterious. Like as I was playing through it, I was like, wow, I want to learn more. I was reading lots of the pickups, actually physically reading, because I wanted to know more about this world. And so there's a lot of lore there. There's a lot of interesting aspects about Control that I think that there's a lot of meat there that they could do other things. So I'm excited, because I mean, I love Control. Yeah. To me, it's one of my favorites. Had I played it last year, it definitely would have been on my top 10. Absolutely. This year, the remaster, maybe I'll try to sneak it in and include it again, even though it came out last year, because it's that stinking good. Yeah, it's really, really, really good. It's really fun. It had some of the tightest combat I felt in a game in a long time. The combat felt so tight, like everything was perfect.
Yeah, and it felt like you was doing damage, man.
Nothing
felt like you were actually
like there was no toe stepping. You know, kind of like how like I told you, like in Godfall, like if you're swiping, you can't dodge. Right. So you're like stepping on your toes, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, because I'm swiping, I can't press O. So my swiping is stepping on my O. Yeah. So like I can't, you're locked in. There's no, so it was so tight and very, very, very good game. And if you have PS Plus, why have you not played that game yet? Or if you have Game Pass, why have you not played that game yet? The game is like so easily available. I think it was like $15 also on PS Store right now, like really cheap. Mm-hmm. So it's worth every penny. It's such a good game. Go out and try that game, folks. It's incredible. Yeah, and get excited about the spinoff
for sure. You know? And we'll keep you guys updated once we hear something else
of what they're gonna do with it.
Yeah, for sure. So on to the next one, Elder Scrolls 6. We've all been waiting for that. We've been constantly waiting for Bethesda to see what they're gonna show us. See if they can, we thought might be able to see something, possibly during this E3 or whatever, but, they didn't show us anything. So there's an article that was done on WCCF Tech or whatever that was talking about a conversation that they had with Todd Howard, and they're basically saying that shit's still in design phase. Like they're still working on just how it looks. Which is crazy, because that was incredible. How long ago was that announced? Or how long has there been Elder 6 talk?
Let me find out.
Because it's been a long time.
It was at their last E3, I want to say
2018? 2019, I mean?
It had to have been 2018.
Yeah, it's been quite a while. And for them to just not have anything yet, I mean, I don't even remember when the last Skyrim came out, right? Because I mean that's been ages, man. So it's like if you didn't start working on that, Skyrim came out in 2011.
I know, I looked that up just now. 2011.
2011.
That means Skyrim. November this year is 10 years.
That's nuts.
Since we've had a new Elder Scrolls game.
Yeah, and they're just in design. So it's like I understand, that they've been working on other games. But it's like, damn, where was your Skyrim team at? Were they just working on Elder Scrolls Online?
It was 3 years ago.
Actually, that could be what they were working on, right? Elder Scrolls Online.
It was 3 years ago. I'm trying to find the exact date here when they announced and they revealed it at E3. It was June 2018. 2018. Okay. June of 2018, they revealed Elder Scrolls 6. They revealed it. June 2018. 3 years, dude. This is what... Dude, 3 years, they tell us they're going to make it. And they're in the design phase for 3 years?
It's a long time, dude.
And they're still in the design phase?
I mean, if
that means they have nothing, dude.
So you'd have to be telling me that the Bethesda Sky Elder Scrolls team. Since 2014 is when they released Elder Scrolls Online, right? And they're constantly making expansions.
I think that's a
and stuff
completely
like
different.
that.
I think that's a completely different team.
You think that's a different branch?
A different team makes that.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I would think that they're the same if it's in the same world, right?
No, it's a completely different team making that.
ZeniMax. ZeniMax is the one doing that one. Let me see.
Let me see here.
No, ZeniMax is working on Elder Scrolls as well. ZeniMax has worked on Elder Scrolls as well.
Yeah, but I think it's a different team. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, the studio would be the team working on it, right?
I don't think it's the same group of people. Like the people who are working on Elder Scrolls Online, I don't think are the same as like people who are working on Elder Scrolls 6. I think it's a different like group of people.
What would lead you to believe
Because then
that?
what would you do? You can never make Elder Scrolls 6 then. The team's always constantly working on the new Elder Scrolls Online.
Unless they, I mean, how long do they plan to service Elder Scrolls Online? Like, do they plan to let it die after a while? Like, is this the last expansion that they did for it? And they're not doing anything else? Because, you know, there was just another expansion that was done.
See, but I'm not showing ZeniMax. That's I think that's just who owns Bethesda. So for instance, like ZeniMax owns Arcane Studios, which makes Dishonored and Prey.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They own Tango Gameworks, which makes The Evil Within.
Yeah, well, it's all like the one head studio, whatever is ZeniMax.
Right. So that's what I'm not talking. I'm not talking about ZeniMax, man. I'm talking about the team that's making Elder Scrolls Online versus Elder Scrolls 5 or 3 or, you know, Oblivion. The team that made Oblivion versus the team that made Elder Scrolls Online, I think are two different teams of people.
Well, I don't know. I wish they would show what teams were actually the ones that were making it.
Yeah.
Or that we would know exactly who. But
with its,
yeah.
Let's see here.
Because, I mean, there's a lot of branches.
ZeniMax Online makes Elder Scrolls Online. Bethesda Game Studios does the Elder Scrolls series.
Okay, so you're saying they're online.
So ZeniMax Online Studios
is the only one that's working on
right.
The Elder
ZeniMax
Scrolls
Online is the only one working on Elder Scrolls Online. Bethesda Game Studios or Bethesda Softworks is making the Elder Scrolls and Fallout series. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, I just don't know why they're taking so long with this. I can't imagine what they're doing.
All they've been doing is Starfall since 2011. No,
Starfield.
They did Fallout 76, and they released that in 2018.
Yeah, they've been working hard on that. I mean, that is their consistent game. But I mean, that's the online one. Shit, ZeniMax Online ain't doing that one either.
I know. It's just like, what is going on? Yeah, it's just in design phase. So we're gonna get Starfield right next year, and then what does that mean? 5 more years, and we're gonna get Elder Scrolls 6 finally. So that puts us at 2026.
So they put all their eggs in the basket for Starfield to finish that off, and then I mean, because we don't really know too much more about Starfield. So I mean, Starfield could just be like, you know, not getting any extra DLC or anything like that. Just the game is.
Let me walk you through this. In 2002, Bethesda Studios or Bethesda Game Studios published Elder Scrolls 3: Morrowind. 2002.
Okay. Yeah.
2006, 4 years later, they placed Elder Scrolls Oblivion.
Okay.
2011, Elder Scrolls 5, Skyrim. And between those 5 years, between 2006 and 2011, they released Fallout 2 years later. So basically, right here, if you look at this, 2002, 2004, 2006, 2008, 2000, every 2 years they've released
a game. Okay.
Whether it be Fallout or Elder Scrolls. And then in 2015, they released Fallout 4. And then you just see Fallout Special Edition. I mean, Skyrim Special Edition, Skyrim VR, Fallout VR. That's all they've released. And then in 2020 and 2018, Fallout 76.
So what was that time span?
Yeah, so from 2011 to 2018, they did nothing.
Well,
they released Fallout 4.
The VRs and stuff like that.
They released Fallout 4. So from 2015...
They were also making ports for like VR. So Skyrim VR,
Right.
Fallout VR,
They're making ports for Skyrim, which come on, dude.
and then definitive editions.
And definitive editions. That's
You
not
know
an
what I mean?
actual
Gotta sprucing
game.
it up. It's got to take man hours, right? So, I mean,
It does take
you
man
know,
hours
so
sprucing it
I
up.
don't know, but
What's going on, dude?
I get it with Starfield, but I mean, as big as that company is, right? If we're not even looking at ZeniMax and everything that it was, right? Because Microsoft bought ZeniMax, right?
Yes.
Or did they just purchase
ZeniMax?
Bethesda?
No, ZeniMax.
They bought ZeniMax.
So they have
got
all of those
everything that's under the
studios,
ZeniMax
yes.
umbrella. Bethesda's just the biggest one.
Right.
But it's like out of all of those groups of people, you ain't like start changing folks' jobs, you know what I mean? Moving them around to like handle certain games.
I know.
Like,
That's how I feel, bro. It's like you bought this massive studio, and I feel like I'm like, what are you working on?
yeah.
If I was Microsoft, I'm like, we need a game a year, like
Yeah.
a new big game every year.
You're my biggest provider. I need you.
We just
to
purchased you, and we're
produce,
getting
man.
nothing new this year from you.
Yeah.
How shocking is that? They purchased you in
Well,
2020.
that's a lie because we just got an update on a DLC. They've been working on that, man. So we got DLC
Dude.
update for Fallout Online 76 or whatever. So
Right.
that's what they've been working on.
The
So they've been giving us
Wastelanders
something.
update.
It wasn't.
But
It's
nothing
past the
new.
Wastelanders. There's another one. The Wastelanders update.
Oh,
They
there's
were
that
working
new
on
one.
that
That's
too.
right.
And
They
it's
showed
just
that
the
at
one
the
that they just
Xbox.
dropped at on
Yeah.
E3 or whatever. That's the newest
That's
one.
coming out this year, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy,
So they
man.
actually been working.
You have this
They just been
massive
working on shit that
studio,
they've been
and
had
they're
out.
producing DLC. I would feel like that ain't worth $7.5 billion. I mean, that's just, I don't know what's going on. They went from releasing an awesome game every 2 years to releasing a game like it looks like now every 4 to 5 years.
Yeah, I wonder what happened.
What's
I
up
mean,
with
maybe after Elder Scrolls 3, that's when their buzz just like blew up.
Don't you think though that the bigger
Because I know
and bigger
Morrowind
you
was
get,
the biggest one.
the bigger and bigger you get, and the more money you make, the more people you could hire, the more games you could make.
Yeah, you would think so. And the fact that they haven't done shit to revamp their engine.
No,
Like
they haven't.
you would think that they
too,
would have
right?
an easy time.
We're not going
just
from
like,
God of War to God of War 2019, where it's a whole new engine.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like literally
where
the same thing every time.
They just
Fallout
improved it a
76
little
was
bit.
identical to Fallout 4. Identical.
Yeah, it had the same issues and stuff like that too in the game.
Same issues. Same with
So-
Skyrim 5. If you play Skyrim, it's like, dude, this is Fallout, but it's just reskinned in the woods and with medieval,
Right.
skinning.
Right.
But you know it's the same. You pick up everything the same. Bodies drop
Same
like
actions,
rags
same
the same.
things,
Same
yeah.
actions.
Yeah, it's always been the
it's
same.
all the
You
same.
always know what you expect.
Just a different setting.
You always know what you're getting from
Right.
Bethesda when they drop Skyrim or Elder Scrolls and Fallout. You already know what you're getting. But I don't know, man. So
Let's
well,
stop, right? Let's
I
stop,
mean,
okay?
hopefully
We're just gonna lose our
Todd and
mind.
them,
We're just gonna lose our
Todd and them
mind.
are putting in some work, man, and trying to get something out for the top of 2021. I still don't know when. Do we know the release date for Starfield?
No.
Was it supposed to be this year?
Oh, 2022 November next year.
Ooh, shit. So that's a while.
End of next year, we're gonna finally get.
Okay.
Microsoft is gonna finally get a new game. They buy this company and they're gonna finally get a new game because the one game they're releasing this year, the one game Deathloop, is coming out on PlayStation.
Right.
So it's like,
Oh, that's another. So that's another game that they've been working on, Deathloop.
yeah,
And
but that's
they
id
had to
Studios.
push that
I believe
one
that's
back.
it, or I think that's it, or it's Arcane Studios, I believe. So it's not Bethesda Studios GameWorks,
Okay.
is what I'm trying
Alright.
to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, on to something else that everybody has been waiting for like the longest, right? Is GTA 6, and we
Dude,
finally
another
got an idea of when it's coming out, and it's soon, 2025.
Right around the corner, everybody.
So
Get ready.
I mean,
Get your wallets ready.
yo, GTA 6 coming out in like another 4 years is nuts.
Well, 4.5, right? I mean, it depends on when it comes out in 2025, dude.
Yeah,
Pushing
that's
5.
true. Yeah,
I mean,
it's very close.
Yeah,
to that.
we're more like 4, but it's just like, when? Am I closer to 4 or closer to, I mean, I'm just blown away.
But I mean, okay, regardless of it being that long out, right? It's like, damn, okay, Rockstar's like, this is what you guys have been doing. So they've obviously got to have something else in the works that they're dropping before then, right? They wouldn't wait that long with absolutely nothing to come out with.
Dude, yeah, they've been waiting that long.
I mean, I know that they've been
Just
putting
DLCs.
a lot of time into GTA 5. making that online like more and more, you know what I mean, adding stuff all the time to GTA 5, but like they can't spend like damn near a decade on just one game, can they? Like
Dude.
they have to give us something else.
I mean, like, okay, I'm trying to find out right now when exactly, okay, Grand Theft Auto 5 released.
Mm-hmm.
And the only game we got in between these games is Red Dead Redemption 2, right? And Red Dead Redemption 2 came out in 2018.
2013 is when GTA 5 came out.
And 2013?
2013 is when GTA 5 came out.
So 2013 is when GTA. That's so nuts, man, to think that. That's so long ago.
Yeah.
On the PS freaking 3.
It was like one of the first games you could get, wasn't it? Because it was available on the PS3 and the PS4?
It came out right at the end. So right at the start of the PS4 generation.
Right.
They released the PS3 version before. So a whole year earlier. And then they relaunched it for the PS4.
Yeah.
But it's like, wow, that's old, man. That game looks so freaking good for a PS3
It does.
I can't even believe that. That's why I'm just like going crazy.
It's crazy,
right now.
yeah.
Like, that's insane.
That's an old ass game, man.
That's insane, bro.
That's over 7 years old, man.
So, but let's look at the timeline here. It was 5 years between GTA 5 and Red Dead 2, right? So that means I would expect all of us what I would be expecting around 2023 for GTA 6, right? That's what we're
something
expecting.
else, another title, right?
Well, or something else, but a new game every 5 years is kind of like what we're expecting.
Yes. I would hope that they would make one sooner, but I guess
I mean, yeah, I would.
The scope of the games that it would take that long for it to happen.
I know. I'm in my mind. It's just like drives me nuts. If you're so successful, you're making more money, you can hire more people and make more games. Also, why would you not want to? Like, wouldn't that just the more games you release, the more money you make, right?
Yes and no, right? So I totally get that you would have a lot of money off of a very, very successful game, and that you had the ability to expand
and make a new one.
Do you want to expand? If you did this with the people that you have, so why not pocket more money and keep working with the people you have?
The only thing I'll say to that is, then that makes me think no, is because now I can put that game out again in 2 years instead of 5, or 3 years instead of 5.
To produce it quicker, to essentially make the money that you're spending on people
again,
working on it
in just a few years rather than wait 5 years. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
you buy more people to pump games out quicker. And they all sell just as successfully. I'm pretty sure the next one will sell just as successfully or better as this one, right?
Oh, well, because of the name, it's going to sell.
So, I mean, what's sustaining this company, though, is their online, because they add the online stuff. That's sustaining them. Because I don't know how you can go 7 years between releasing a game and make major profits.
Rockstar is the key.
Well, I'm saying the only reason why they're able to is because the online. Because they didn't have that before. So, and if you look, before they were releasing games much quicker.
Right.
You had Max Payne 3, 2012, Grand Theft Auto 5, 2013, LA Noire was 2011. So it was like every year, literally every year. Yeah, Red Dead Redemption was 2010, LA Noire was 2011, Max Payne was 2012, Grand Theft Auto 5 was 2013, and it's because I think they introduced Grand Theft Auto Online literally the very next year.
Because Grand Theft Auto had never had an online feature.
Nope, it wasn't until 2013 when they had Grand Theft Auto 5 and they added Grand Theft Auto Online that you have this massive gap between game releases.
Right.
And I'm thinking because they got so much dang money from GTA Online that they had no incentive to now make a new game. It's the same thing with like books. We talk about Patrick Rothfuss, right? Yeah. And we're like, this dude made so much freaking money from his games. He has no incentive to write a third one anytime soon. Like, why write his books? Yeah, there's like no incentive for him to quickly make another one. Yeah. Or like if you're a starving artist.
if you were hungry,
if you're a starving artist, you're gonna
mattering about your next book. You're gonna produce those things quicker. Yeah.
Why is Will Wright pumping them out? Because everyone's a payday. He needs to get paid.
Right.
But if you're Rothfuss and you're making millions of dollars off one single book, then you're like, well, I can slow down now. The incentive goes away, and I think that's what happened here with Grand Theft Auto.
Unless you like really love writing or something like that.
Like unless you're Brandon Sanderson, he's the exception, right? Because he's making millions of dollars, but he keeps pumping them out regularly.
Right.
He is the exception of the rule. But most of the time, once you've hit it big, you take a step back. You slow down, And that's crazy because, when you go back and you look and you see, wow, it's like every year they were releasing a game. Rockstar.
But one of the biggest things about, this talk, right? So this article from GameSpot was talking about it. And even though it is 2025, I thought that the more interesting thing was the fact that it would have an evolving map.
Changes?
I thought that was
that is cool.
A more interesting.
So is that their excuse for why it's taking longer, I guess?
I don't know, maybe.
The tech? That's new tech?
Maybe. I don't know. They said that the map will have a Fortnite like evolving map.
Oh.
So I've never really played Fortnite.
Neither have I.
But if you're talking about the maps are constantly changing,
like
due
destruction
to,
based what you do or something?
due to like a new DLC, and then the city or wherever it's at is demolished, or something has gone down because of the new information that they're pumping. This means that the game itself, right? I don't know if this is the game. Maybe if it says Fortnite like, they're talking about online. So if you're telling me the city will constantly be evolving as you're playing online game, that might be a whole different animal. What if GTA 6 isn't even a story-based game? What if it's all online play? Like you're in the city with a bunch of others. And you're just
let me tell you, man,
it.
they're incentivized to do that because they're making so much
How
money
much
on
money
GTA
they're making
Online
off of
and Red Dead off online. Like if they made like a massive multiplayer route, wow,
that could be crazy, right?
That would be crazy.
You're just adding all of the different NPCs into the world that give you quests like they've already done and expanded on. And then you're able to just crew up with people that are in the city that's doing crimes just like you. You have a hideout spot. You have your palace.
You'd have to have a big enough city, though, to where like you're not cramping people's style.
Yeah, but I mean, that could also be another reason why that it's taking, 2025, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It takes them like 3 years just to make the city.
GTA 5? Yeah. I know it takes years. I mean, 5 years I get.
Right.
But,
I mean, you're going to have it easier.
But 7 years? I don't know. It just seems like nuts to me that they've given us nothing new since 2018.
I mean, hell, musicians will wait 7 years before they drop another album. So
I think it all depends on how successful you are, in my opinion.
Right.
If you're a starving artist, you're pumping out an album every year.
If you can keep eating off your old shit,
then you wait 7 years to punch a new. Right.
Good.
That's my philosophy, and I'm thinking that's why they're waiting so long. They're eating off their old games.
Right.
They're feeding very well. People are still pumping tons of money into GTA Online.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, tons of people still love that game. It's one of the most watched, if Marcos here probably could tell us, the most watched games on Twitch, right? And it's like, it's very popular. And so they have no reason to make a new game. They really don't.
Right. But
it's a shame, right? Because we all want to play the next GTA 6, man. Yeah. We all want to play it. So
man, it's a bummer to hear that it's in 2025, but hearing that, just gets me interested as to what they are concocting, because
2025 is a long way, bro.
Rockstar makes great games, dude.
What are we going to be doing 4 years from now, man? That's a long time away, homie.
Yeah, shoot, maybe it'll be in VR, man. They might be like Ready Player One or something like that. Have a whole Sword Art Online headset for you to get in and play GTA, commit crimes in first person, man. Who knows, man? But moving on, for the last quick shot, we got a lot of them today, but for the last quick shot, we got the PS Plus games for July. They were finally announced. A good place I like to go is PlayStation Grenade. They always got the videos that come out early, let you know. These were also introduced on the PlayStation blog. But we have 3 solid titles. We got Call of Duty Black Ops 4. And then we have WWE Battlegrounds. And then the one that I was interested in because I actually was watching the gameplay and I was like, okay, damn, this looks like it might be kind of a cool game to play. Almost not quite like your Elysium, but sort of similar in a fashion. But it's Plague Tale. So in a sense or whatever. So I know that one's supposed to be PS4 right now, but they're giving you the PS5 upgrade when it comes out, like day one or whatever. But it's basically, I guess, the story of a girl and a little boy or something like that, and then they're going through this town trying to avoid like the cops or whatever, and the almost on like some, I wouldn't even say thief, like Dishonored or something like that. You know, you're trying to avoid guards and stuff, so you're doing a lot of stealth, and then you're utilizing like fire, rats, to help you get past obstacles or whatever, puzzles in a sense.
Yeah, this game always felt more like a puzzle game to me than like an action RPG or like an action adventure, kind of like what you're listing out, like a Last of Us 2 action adventure,
right.
Where it has like a Last of Us kind of feel and look, right? Kind of, you're saying over the shoulder. It's very narrative. You're like talking and avoiding but it always felt very puzzle-like, where you're trying to use your powers to like get through places or move forward.
You can't attack, unique. So you're just trying to get around them.
Right.
So you're trying to like, okay, how can I get by this person? That's the puzzle.
Right.
So can I use rats? Can I use my slingshot to make noise over here?
Right.
And then run over here.
It's like you have powers and abilities that we would normally associate with like an action oriented game,
right?
But they're not really necessarily used in an action sense. Although I do think there's boss fights, if I remember right. There's boss fights in this game,
right? There are boss fights, but I felt like there was other ways to get around it. Yes, they're very much
puzzly too. Even when you fight them, it's more like very puzzle like.
Right,
exactly.
Right.
It's not like a health bar, right? You're trying to like chip down by fighting.
Right.
It's more so
but
like
you're just trying to outsmart it or something.
It's
like
more
that,
strategic and methodical in solving how to fight the boss. A lot of people loved this game when it came out. I'm looking at it right now. I remember it when it came out, and I always wanted to play it, but I avoided it. Because I just thought it was like, wow, that's just different. It looked indie to me. I don't think it's indie, but like it looked indie to me, and so I was hesitant to pay the whole full $1 price tag, kind of like my whole complaint with Returnal and stuff.
Right.
And so I was kind of hesitant to get involved into it. But if you go on Metacritic, it had an 81 from critics, but an 8.5 from users. It's very rare when the users is like
really
not much higher than the critic score. Usually the users hate it more than the critics do. And this one they liked quite a bit more. That's really high for users.
Okay.
And people really, really liked it. It's about, from what I've noticed, a 12 to 15 hour game.
Oh, okay.
Right? So like a Ratchet and Clank
solid
length.
Amount.
Yeah, like a little bit, a little shorter, but solid amount. Perfect, in my opinion. When I read that, I want to play it now.
Yeah.
When I read that this is a 12 to 15 hour game, it's like, oh, that's perfect, dude. Like I could finish that on a weekend, or a week, a few nights. If you're out a couple hours a night, you're going to finish that. Like you're going to feel like you made progress and you finished a game. So like that's really, really, all these things really make me want to play it. And now it's free, so I don't have to worry about the price tag anymore.
Right.
So that's probably the biggest one. And this is the PS5 version.
Right.
So it has all the bells and whistles that come along with the PS5. So this is the one that you definitely want to buy. So pick this one up. Daniel, my brother-in-law, you just got PlayStation Plus. Finally, you joined the membership, man.
Really?
Make sure you snag this. Just now joined it last month, I think.
Damn, man.
First time
he missed out on a lot of stuff, dude.
A lot of stuff, man. Like my library is so massive because of PS Plus.
Yeah, I just go through and I'm like, oh, damn, I got this one?
Whenever I'm looking for a new game, man, let me go to my library. Yeah. I'm sure I got something there I haven't played yet. Like, that's what I do with Biohazard. Resident Evil. It's like, okay, I have that. Actually, I own that.
Right.
It's like, oh, I own that game, but I've never even played it.
Yeah, it's like, oh, damn, I remember hearing that one. It's it's in my
crazy,
library.
Right? Yeah, so it's like, that's all it's like, so I'm telling you, man, grab this one. This is really cool because he's really a big fan of like Last of Us and he's also a big fan of those games. So I think he'd really get a kick out of this.
Yeah, I think my boy Browns would probably like this one too because it seems like a story-driven game. So,
absolutely, yeah. With that over-the-shoulder kind of like.
Yeah, hopefully the gameplay is good, but like I think as long as majority of them are stories and they have good stories, to drive them, then it's worthwhile playing.
Right.
And the fact that it's free $99, you can't really beat that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. See, Control did a little better than this from Metacritic. It had an 82.
Okay.
Where Plague had 81. But in my opinion, Control is closer to a 9, in my opinion. So sometimes these games can be even better. So I'm hoping that happens here is what I'm basically trying to say.
Right.
Is I'm hoping if I play this, because I got Control for free.
Right.
And I just slapped it on and I ended up adoring it.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that could happen here. Like I end up just going, wow, my jaw's
like,
dropped.
man,
I'm so shocked how
you put me on. Yeah,
thank you,
know
man.
what I mean?
Like, this is great. Exactly.
Yeah, so I'm definitely gonna find some time to put that in. Maybe after one of those frustrating sessions of Returnal, trying to beat that. I might go ahead and
take
slide
a break,
that in
right, and slide into that.
Yeah, and do that and see what's going on with that. But that's it for the quick shots. So on to the main topics. So the first one we got for you is Xbox and Kojima. So before we had mentioned that there was like some possible discussions going on of maybe like an exclusive title or something like that Kojima Productions would be doing for Xbox, and it looks like that rumor is still continuing and that their talks are still continuing, but they are very close to getting signed. So that's interesting. I know you had some thoughts about Kojima and Xbox, getting together. So what do you got?
The question here is, we don't really know the nature of this deal, right? We know that they're getting close to a deal. We know that it says here, they're beginning to prepare what Kojima will need for his next game. Right, they've hired a veteran developer. Some extra
studios at him.
They hired an extra developer, Kim Swift, to work on who has worked on games like Portal and Left 4 Dead, to help him develop his next game. So this seems very big to me. It makes me think like it can't be buying him, right? Like it can't be like they're about to buy his studio. I think Kojima needs way more freedom than that.
Yeah,
but is this more than just like a one game thing?
I don't think he would also sell himself after what had happened with Capcom and whatnot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's done with that, right? He's done being owned.
Yeah, him parting ways with Capcom.
He's done
I think
being
he's
owned.
ready to just be Kojima Studios. It's got your name.
Or it was
your
Konami.
legacy.
I think it was Konami. Was it Konami he was under? Might have been Konami.
Maybe it was a Konami.
Yeah.
Let me see.
You can find out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're right. I think he's done being owned. He's done being controlled. He's done having his creativity in his mind stifled. And you can see that with Death Stranding. He went out there, dude. Like, he definitely did not go the conventional route when he made Death Stranding. Because if you look at a game like Metal Gear Solid, he did some weird and wacky things like with the storytelling, but it still felt very traditional.
Yeah.
But Death Stranding did it. Death Stranding was like its own thing.
It was like its own freaking genre at that point.
Yeah, it was like its own
totally
genre,
changed.
like walking sim. Like, I don't know.
It was Konami.
Okay, so yeah, he was owned by Konami. Yeah, so he parted ways with Konami, and I think you're right. He does not want to be strapped down again. So this is probably a one game off. But what's a trip is he's always been so close with Sony.
Yeah.
What does this say about Sony? What happened between Kojima and Sony that he would even want to listen to? I mean, of course, Xbox has that golden, goose, and they can just basically give whatever he asked. No, just they have a ton of money.
Oh, yeah.
Xbox they could just write whatever they want. They could just throw massive amounts of money around.
Mm-hmm.
But he was such a close relationship with Sony that this is bizarre to me that he would betray, or I don't know what the right word is, walk away from that relationship and start something new with Xbox.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's like... So, him deciding, right? Like, because as you stated before, we don't know what the contract is for, like their agreement. We don't know if it's like a couple of games, if it's one game, if it's like, hey, I'm joining your team to just give you nothing but exclusives. What, you know what I mean? If it's like, I'm going to make a game and you get a timed exclusive, and then, and then it'll eventually come to the PC or the PlayStation or whatever. We don't know what it is, but I feel like, I don't think Kojima is just done from making games for PlayStation, right? If he's still putting the time to update Death Stranding and give new stuff for that, you know what I mean? I think that he'll still be working with
Sony?
With Sony.
Yeah,
I feel like it's kind of like a James Gunn type of thing. You know what I mean? Like
one for you, one for you.
Marvel's fired James Gunn because of what he had tweeted a long time ago or whatever. And then they realized, oh shit, we made a mistake. We want him back. But as soon as he got fired, DC was on him. You know what I mean? Like, hey, let's pick you up, do some movies. So he's like, he already signed a contract to do like 2 or 3 movies. So he's gonna do them. but he's going back to Marvel. So it's like he's gonna have movies in both areas.
Yeah, see, some people
of the competition at that
are
point.
suggesting that he's playing both sides, right? Like he's gonna make a game for Microsoft, and he's gonna make a game for Sony, and he's just adding this. But I wonder how big his studio is. So partly is why I think this is like, how big is his studio to handle projects like this?
Well, you also got to think how much time in between each of his games does he take. You know what I mean?
Right, which is why can he afford to produce 2 games for 2 separate studios in a timely manner? Which is why part of me thinks like he's taking each game one step at a time, and he's going to produce it one step at a time. So it's like this last game he did with Sony, this next game he's doing with Microsoft. Maybe the next game he goes back to Sony. Who knows what happens?
And didn't on this E3 conference, didn't he have something that he was already working on currently?
Everyone's talking about Silent Hill.
Right.
So I think here's what some of the rumors are.
Is Silent Hill a game that's on both consoles? I can't remember.
In the past it had been.
Okay.
But there's been rumors that Kojima wants to do this kind of like this episodic thing where like it's released in episodes and parts.
So you would have
like
to stay tuned
kind of thing.
For the next one.
Maybe not written like a Telltale, but episodic like Telltale is episodic.
Yeah, right.
I don't know how popular that is amongst gamers right now. I think gamers really want like a full fleshed out game and not wait episodically
for a story to finish
up. Telltale are kind of like, they're good games, but they're not like adored by the community. They're very like highly praised by like critics and stuff, but they're not games that people just jump on board to play.
They were also ones that you would just wait until the whole season was out.
And you would wait till the whole season was out. You're right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You would just get it as a collection of one from the PlayStation Store or whatever, and then just play it all.
So my train of thought here is like, Death Stranding wasn't necessarily the most successful game as far as like the average gamer. Like if you look at Metacritic, Death Stranding had an 82 from Metacritic, but only 7.3 from users. So that's like almost a full point. It went from good to mixed.
Yeah.
Went from good from the critics and mixed by users. And I think mixed is exactly what this game is. Like it's totally mixed by users. Like some users love it, some users hate it. When I finally saw what it was, it turned me off from wanting to play it when I had been excited to play it.
Yeah, I mean, once we were seeing like all of the footage and stuff like that of dude walking around out in like the wild,
just
and
walking.
It's like invisible creatures and the little baby, and you're like, dude, this is weird. Like, what is this? Like, I'm interested. Exactly. And then when you find out it's just a package delivering simulator,
basically,
it's just like,
I didn't expect
damn, what the hell is this? I don't want to deliver packages the whole game. Like, I mean, there's people who played it.
That shocked me,
just
like it shocked you. But like, I never would have guessed that is what it would turn out to be.
Yeah.
In my wildest dreams, I would have never even guessed that.
So like when you look at it in hindsight of things, right? Like if you stand back, like Hideo Kojima games are like weird as fuck. Like they have lots of weird shit in them. Like but Metal Gear Solid was like on the top. It was like a straightforward game, you know what I mean? Like you're this guy Snake and you got a mission or whatever. But there was so much stuff underneath that was just like, what the hell is going on? Why is this like flaming, like burning guy like chasing after me? Like, why is this like, where did this turn? You know what I mean? Like you hit a certain point in the game, like after like 20 minutes, and then the game totally changes. And you're like, what the hell is this? This doesn't seem like the same game I've been playing, you know? It's like all weird. You know, so it's just like his mind is like in a whole different area, and for him to come up with something that's like, oh, I want to make a UPS game, but I want to make it riveting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes you wonder who was like at the development table when he was pitching that to his team. Yeah. Right? Because he kept that under wraps. None of us knew it was going to be a UPS game.
I wish that they would just record his pitches when he's bringing up these games to these people to see what they're thinking of.
Yeah, like he goes to the board, he writes FedEx, creatures, and a baby.
Invisible creatures.
And you're like, the fuck is that? Something is going on there in that guy's mind where he's bringing all those together. But the thing is, like, I think Sony was maybe potentially a little turned off by Death Stranding.
Maybe.
Because I think they gave him... I think that was partly the reason why he went with Sony, because like they told him, dude, you have total control. You do whatever the heck you want to do. We'll give you whatever resources you need.
I think
we'll
that was
publish this game.
I mean, that was the whole reason why he left Konami, right?
Right,
because
was for
he was
freedom.
able to take his productions and branch off and do his own thing. So he's like, hey, Konami, like, we have issues. Like, I can't get my creative genius out. So, like, I'm going to go.
I'm out. I'm parting ways.
Yeah. And that's it. And he created, he did his own thing. And this is like for him to show his creativity. He opened his own shoe company and he making his own sneakers to do crazy frilly fruit, whatever, all over it. You know what I mean? But
I don't think anyone knew how crazy he'd be. Because it is weird.
Because that was the first one by himself.
Right. It was a whole other. It was on a whole nother level. And I mean, I'm not knocking it. I know people love it.
Yeah.
I may even play it someday. But I'm just saying, I don't think anyone expected it.
If they gave it to us,
I expect
PS Plus,
Game Pass. I mean, a PS Plus at some point in time, I can expect that.
Yeah.
But you just see like the contrast. Metal Gear Solid was scored at 95 on Metacritic. Death Stranding scored an 82. So you see like a major contrast of difference. And I think part of that is just because of he got total control. He didn't have anyone telling him to leave any conventions in, where Metal Gear Solid still had some of the conventions, like you were saying. There's those conventions there,
right? And
then this one had like none of them, and you see what he can do when you take the training wheels completely off, and it's like, whoa, this is a little bit weird. And I think that he pitched that episodic kind of, this is my vision, my episodic horror story that everyone's waiting for, and Sony was like, hold off, can we just make like a Resident Evil type game, just produce a game that's complete and finished and full. And I can see Kojima going, get out of here, I want to do what I want to do, I'm not being controlled, and him going to the next buyer, and Microsoft going, we don't care, here's the money, we just want you. And
or I could just see that somehow dude was able to get a hold of him from Xbox and be like, hey man, I want to talk to you about a possible game, some possible game ideas that you could probably bring here, maybe an exclusive deal, would pay you a lot up front, maybe give you some extra hands to do this.
Yeah, who knows who reached out first,
there,
right? Right, yeah, like who knows who reached out first?
Yeah, because I could see Phil trying to talk to Hideo and just be like, hey man, like, we'll give you whatever you need, just give us like
totally.
1 or 2 exclusives, we'll sign a contract, but we'll give you the hands that you need, you direct it, you know what I mean, you in charge of all of that. And, just produce us something. I know you're working on this over here, but, do that. But, like, give us this over here. And we'll give you the people to be able to do that. All you got to do is give the ideas, and they'll
totally think that
Kojima...
I totally think Microsoft is pitching them, you have total control and freedom. And that's what Kojima wants to hear, and that's what Kojima will sign.
Right.
And so it's going to be something along those lines. But I do think it's like we said earlier, project to project. I don't think this is like they're buying him up. Mm-hmm. It's like, give us a project and we'll pay for it, right? Whatever you need, because he does not want to be tied up.
I still think he's freelancing. I think he's out there for all the consoles.
Yeah, I think he's freelancing. Yeah, I think he's freelancing. He's a mercenary, right?
It would be interesting if we could see him do something for the Switch.
Who knows? That could be next, right? That could be next. But he's got to be careful, because if he keeps producing divisive games like Death Stranding, his name could start to take a little bit of a dive, right? And people may not be so willing to give him everything he wants. Because right now people are willing to give him everything he wants, like he's LeBron James, But it's like, if he keeps being as divisive with these game releases that are just like totally bizarre and out there, and only half the community really likes them, then that could really hurt his stock, his value.
Yeah.
And he may need to just, take some direction again.
Yeah. But so that's it for that topic. So on to the next one. This one's kind of like a big one, man. PlayStation, they're constantly acquiring new things. They're always trying to improve what they've built, and it seems like they have kind of like strategies that they work with or whatever, and they're loyal. So they tend to work with the same people over and over again. Mm-hmm. They get new people, but they really like the people that they've been working with. They build
relationships.
Right. And they keep that going. And one of the recently biggest relationships that they've had is the one with Housemarque. And it looks like as of like a couple of days ago, PlayStation and Housemarque finally came to an agreement for Housemarque to be purchased by Sony.
They're a first party studio now.
So now
Which
they
is
are
cool.
a first party. So now they would be considered a AAA studio, right?
Right. I
Because
think they
are
would
part
now.
of the big PlayStation
I
umbrella.
think they would be now.
Which you know, if we're looking at
I think.
right, so
It just also depends on the kind of games they release, but
right, but if we're kind of looking at it as like, you know, like Kojima Productions, right? You know, Phil Spencer saying, "Hey, we're gonna hire you an extra person to help with this, you know, or an extra studio or whatever." You know, what if PlayStation came to Housemarque for that? Hey, build us a bigger, better game than like Resogun. We're going to put it at this price tag, and we're going to give you the hands to help build this. So maybe it wasn't just Housemarque that was on this, but, you know, somebody else under, you know, Schmigigan's group came over, helped out with it, you know, to get it working.
yeah, I think they're going to push the staff higher, like you're saying.
For sure.
They're at 80 now, you said?
I don't know what they're at currently right now. Let me
I
see.
think they were sub 100, which is still more than what they had when they made Resogun. Resogun was a great game, but that's not a AAA game, right? Like that's clearly an indie game. And I think after Returnal, this is what we were saying, man. When Returnal lost, I think Housemarque was over there popping champagne. We did it. Look how good our scores are.
Right.
The game is selling. I don't think the game sold like incredibly well. It didn't sell like, you know, hotcakes, but I think it did sell well. And I think it
did
made its
sell
money.
well.
And it got really great reviews. I mean, really great reviews. If you look at the reviews, I think both users and critics really enjoyed Returnal.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, I think Housemarque had a lot riding on Returnal, dude. A whole lot riding on that game.
That could have been what the whole freaking basis of them getting purchased was.
It could have been, dude. Like who
hey,
knows?
you need to create a A1 game. If this sells great, then we're gonna purchase you, and we'll do it for the price you asked. Or maybe we'll purchase you, but it's gonna be for a lower price. You know, maybe it was a bet, like a gamble. You know, you produce this much, we'll purchase you at this much.
Part of me wonders if Returnal was, in some sense of the word, a proof of concept, bro. Like, we're proving to you, Sony, that we can produce a
AAA
quality game
with our 80 people.
With our 80 people. And it's like,
in Finland.
I don't think Returnal quite hits the mark for like Far Cry level AAA quality, but they showed that they can do it. I think they demonstrate it. Yeah. I think if you look at Returnal and you play, you're like, this studio is good. Like they can make a big budget game.
Right.
They can do it.
Yeah, but it's a crazy hell of a leap that they've made, right? If you look at the other titles that they've made,
Super Stardust, Resogun.
Yeah, I mean, I've never played. Have you played any of the other ones like Matterfall, Nex Machina?
I've played Nex Machina and I've played
Alien
Dead
Nation.
Nation. I played those. I never played Matterfall.
How did those look as far as like?
They're
visual?
all twin stick. They're all twin stick shooters. They're all twin stick like Resogun or Stardust. You played Stardust, where you're on the planet. And you're going around the ball, the sphere, and you're shooting things, but it's a twin stick,
right?
Just like Enter the Gungeon.
Yeah.
So they're all that way. Almost, they're all arcade games.
So it's like the leap,
yes,
from freaking Resogun to Returnal is outstanding. That's a tremendous leap. That looks like two totally different studios did that.
Yeah, if you look at Nex Machina, which is very similar to Resogun, it's the big flashy explosions. You have the twin stick, and you just do, and it's a bullet hell.
Right.
Just like all the rest of the games I've ever made. To Returnal, and you're like, this is like not the same studio, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why part of me thinks like this is a proof of this whole game. Honestly, I think they went to Sony.
Show us what you can do, and they showed. And
they wanted to be a first-party studio. They wanted that security because this is it, man. This is the bag. Like, they are secure now.
They definitely secured the bag.
They secured it, man. Like they got so much security now.
Yeah.
They got to be feeling so good. Like, we don't know how much they bought them for. How much do you think they bought them for? From what I understand, every game they own or they've made, like Resogun, Super Stardust, I think are all owned by Sony.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't think they actually own any IPs. So this isn't like ZeniMax.
Okay, so it's like an IP idea is created by Sony, and then they just produce it.
I think they come to they come to an agreement with Sony, like, hey, we have an idea for a game,
but we need the money to fund it.
Sony's like, well, if you give us IP, we'll fund it. I think that's partly what it is, and they get a cut of the sales or whatever, right? And they have a partnership.
Yeah, so why keep buying IPs from you now? Just keep bringing us the stuff, work up under our umbrella, and you'll get paid more.
ZeniMax, we just talked about, had actual IPs.
Right.
So you're not just buying talent, you're buying the names. Fallout. You're buying the names Skyrim, Elder Scrolls. You're buying these names that have been produced. You're not with Housemarque, so how much do you think they purchased them for? What is your guess? Do you have a guess? Because we don't know yet.
I think they probably... Honestly, I don't know, man. They probably could have purchased them for like 1.5 mil or something like that. And
something real low?
Just like, really good paychecks, in the future.
Here's 10 mil.
Like, here's the money now.
We give you security.
Yeah, here's the money now for the game. And maybe they're giving percentages on the back end for what you sold. You know what I mean? And then, here's your paychecks going forward. You know what I mean? What that is, right? It's got to be something lucrative.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the deal is security.
Yeah.
For both sides.
That's the biggest
Sony's
thing.
like, for both sides, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can't leave us, but we won't leave you.
Right.
Because otherwise, what are they buying? They're not buying IPs. They're buying talent, right? They're just buying the talent up.
Which I think is how a lot of these acquisitions have gone recently. You know what I mean? Like if you kind of like think about it, right? The pandemic happens and shit just gets a lot harder to produce. You know what I mean? It's no longer a good time to drop everything because you don't have the same type of support. You know what I mean? You can't go and showcase things at events, because these events are all held virtually now. And if your shit, sometimes people got to get the game in their hands to test it out. For it to feel weighty. And for some reason, people don't do demos or whatever. Not everybody does demos. But, maybe this was like a way to evolve and be able to work around that. Like Housemarque probably can't afford to give all of their employees leave with pay, while being in quarantine for COVID. So it's like, damn, okay, this is eating at my pockets. I can't afford this anymore. You know what I mean? So you guys either got to take the L and just trust in the process or something else. You know what I mean? Quit or something like that.
I think they worked really hard. I think you're probably right. They were probably hurting because I don't think Nex Machina sold that well. I don't think they've ever made a ton of money on any of the games. No. I'm sure they did really well on Resogun and Super Stardust and stuff.
But at some point, Resogun was free.
Right, exactly.
So I mean, PlayStation probably gave them a bag for Resogun later. But
I think they've probably always been like trying to stay above water. They've always made good games. They're clearly a talented group of people.
Right.
And they've made good games. But I think you're right. I think it's like, okay, guys, we're definitely going to put everything on the table here. Let's show them what we can do. Let's put all of our effort into this. And I think they did that with Returnal. In the moment that game launched and you saw the Metacritic score come out and you saw decent sell numbers, they were popping champagne. And I think from that moment forward, Sony's like, we have something here. We have a group of guys that can produce something, on that Insomniac, Naughty Dog, Sucker Punch level that they expect.
Right.
I think Housemarque proved that they can do that with Returnal. It's not Ghost of Tsushima. It's not big. It's not Last of Us yet, but they prove they can do
good
it,
quality there.
And that people are willing to spend full price for their product.
Right.
And Sony's like, okay, you're secured, and they're probably ecstatic. I'm happy for them. Like I'm super happy, more so than like even for us as gamers. I'm just happy for Housemarque that they made it, they did it, they made it in. They're AAA now. I think I'm excited to see what they're going to do. They even admitted in their interview they had that they're not going to produce games anymore like Resogun. They're never going. They said we're never going back. We're only going to go bigger and further.
Right.
And that's only good news because going bigger from Returnal is great. That's what we want. That's what we're hoping for.
And you could probably, depending on, obviously if they were at 80, at some point in time in June or around 80 people. So if like, you just keep progressing forward and getting bigger. You're taking this extra money that you're getting from Sony, and then you may be able to acquire a couple of more people, or maybe a branch of the Sony groups comes to help you with games.
Right.
Maybe you still can make that Rezo gun
and somehow,
as like a secondary game.
A lot of people
some
people mention that. Yeah, what would it matter? Like, let's say 80 people. Let's say they give them 20 more people, and now they have 100 people. Or let's say they give them 30 more people, and you have like 110, 120 staff members, and you were able to make something pretty awesome with 80 people.
Right.
Add 20 more, and now you can make like Uncharted 4, right? I think it'd be cool if they take the core concept of Returnal, what I've been saying this whole time,
right? That
great gameplay, the great atmosphere, the great setting, the great world building, and make an actual start to finish game like Dark Souls or Uncharted, where like you're moving forward, there isn't no restarting, and you take 10, 20 guys on the side, like you're saying here, because Rezo Gun wasn't made by no 80 people. You take 10, 20 guys, and they can still make those cool arcade games, like what you're saying, exactly what you're saying, and make that extra money on the side, and still feed at your audience, because a lot of their fans like those games,
right?
And move on to bigger and greater things.
Yeah, I mean, they still had, they had like, a good, genre that they have like, good records with. So it's like, why wouldn't you make those just to make them, right? Because they wouldn't be as taxing, but they would still provide you good, income, or at least like if you think about it, like, oh, Housemarque makes like a couple of these, like every 2 years or so they make like one or two, and then that's a free PS Plus game that you're getting, and it maybe it wasn't from like one of their super high titles or something like that, but it's like a new game, you're getting it for free.
Right.
It's more of an incentive to get the PS Plus or something like that.
I mean,
they're giving you something that's like a $15, $20 game for free.
And they're master classes at that genre too.
Right.
Like there's not really much better at that arcadey genre. They're like the best out there, and so it would be a shame to lose that forever, right? Like, as excited as I am, and I can't imagine how excited they are to get back to the studio and work on their next game with this knowing that they have this kind of support, and now they're legit, and they can go big and make something neat. I'm excited to see what they make. But it would be cool if they kept their tradition alive and they kept producing these fun arcade games that everyone knows them for.
Yeah, and on top of that, with Housemarque and PlayStation, announcing that they purchased them, it looked like there was also another leak that had been done and quickly retracted, and that was by PlayStation Japan, and they actually had welcomed Bluepoint to the family as well. So the PlayStation blog had showcased a welcome of Housemarque to the family, and then it looked like PlayStation Japan had also tweeted a welcome to the family with Bluepoint, but then they quickly took it down. But once it's on the internet, it's forever on the internet, and so people snagged it, and that would be interesting, because Bluepoint remade, like we talked about, they remade Demon's Souls, and that's a strong company. So if they hopefully they didn't get Bluepoint just to remake stuff, that they'll get a chance to do their own IP. But
it's very believable, this leak, not only because it was leaked, but because if you looked at the back little slivers of games, if you see the Housemarque one, they slip in right above Housemarque the Returnal. What's her name again? Celine. They slipped Celine in now.
Right.
So if you look at the previous, list of first party studios, whenever Sony announces a new one, they slip in the most well known character
for that
studio there.
Right.
Right. Like they have Ellie, for Naughty Dog, and you see all of them. They have Ratchet for Insomniac, and they had slipped one in for Housemarque, and then the Bluepoint one came out, and it had the Housemarque one, and it had the Demon's Souls Knight slipped into the background.
Right. Right next to it.
That this wasn't just some oops. This is like they made this. They slipped the Knight in there clearly to demonstrate like we're adding them, but then they pulled it down immediately. So I don't know what that means. If
probably just means they haven't finished pinning the last of the deal yet. So maybe there was some last minute change to the contract, and so it hasn't been announced.
And the question is, if they, let's say, hypothetically acquire Blue Point, which I think we're pretty certain they will.
Yeah.
Do we want them to be the remaking wizards they are, or do we want them to make something new?
Nah, I want those guys to make their own IP, man.
Yeah.
I think the Schmagikins group deserves it. Like they deserve being able to make their own IP. It's got to be.
Yeah, I think I agree. Although there would be some cool remakes, like they mentioned, Metal Gear Solid would be a cool remake.
Yeah.
Like there's some cool ideas, but I think ultimately in the end, I would want something new.
Yeah.
Because they're clearly wizards of making things look beautiful. So at the very least, the game's gonna look beautiful.
Yeah.
So that's really neat. You know, like this is Sony punching back. You know, making some moves, acquiring some talent. And there was one other one too that kind of went under the radar, but they also acquired, this one's not rumored, this happened. Sony acquired Nixxes software,
Okay.
which is also a game developer, but they do primarily PC ports.
Okay.
So they take things like, you know, Halo and just port it to PC.
Right.
They don't do like their own games. They're just very good at making ports.
Which kind of like leads us into our next segment, which was about Ghost of Tsushima, right?
Right.
And they were changing. There's been a whole lot of talk going on
All that stuff
within the last couple of days, but they changed the box art for Ghost of Tsushima, the director's cut, which will be out soon.
Right.
But it no longer says only on PlayStation, right?
Right.
So
They removed the no only on PlayStation tag
right, that's normally on it. So I mean,
from their box.
so you know, Nixxes or what's the thing
Nixxes.
called? Nixxes.
Yeah.
And you know, and this happening, you know, with the box art changing and whatnot, you know, if this company is solely about
Porters,
PC porting, like I mean, we already knew that a lot of the PlayStation games, their first party titles, were gonna eventually make it to PC, right? Just a matter of years, you know, like once they're no longer selling, just move it to PC and just
Right.
sell again. You know what I mean? So it seems like it's kind of like inkling that soon the Ghost of Tsushima will be available on the PC.
Yeah, I think that implies that.
Mm-hmm.
I have to, right? I mean, but the thing is, like, I think they're making money hand over fist
Mm-hmm.
on PC, on these PC ports, man. Because they are selling full price. I bet you even Days Gone is making tons of money.
Yeah.
But I think it's a fine line. I think what makes these games so alluring is that because you couldn't play them anywhere but PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of like, you know,
You're finally getting the chance.
yeah, they're alluring. It's like eating the forbidden fruit, right? It's like no one ever had a chance, and now, whoa, all of a sudden that game's available to all, and now it is.
Yeah.
But if this becomes a normal thing, does that allure rank go away? Do people end up just saying, you know what, I'm not going to buy the PlayStation version because I know for certain it's going to start coming out on PC, and I'll just wait for that version?
So I
Does
think
their allure get hurt?
I feel like the PC players are always going to be the PC players, right? They've made peace with whatever games are available for the PC are available. They could care less what comes out for the Xbox or the PlayStation. Until it's on the PC, that's all that it matters, because they're not going to buy a console. They don't want to. And then you have the people who just have a PlayStation 5. It's very rarely, there's not too many people, I would have to assume, that have a PlayStation 5 and a PC and will play the games on either or. It's normally like, you know, you buy games for your PlayStation 5 or your PlayStation 4 to play on your PlayStation 4, and you would never go and buy them
Mark
on your
does.
PC. Does he buy PlayStation games for his PC?
Well, they don't exist for his PC. I mean, what I'm saying is they never existed for his PC, so he has to buy them for his PlayStation.
Right.
But he prefers PC. Like he's told us that many times. He prefers to play his games on the PC.
Mm-hmm.
And part of me wonders, like, let's say all these games had come out. Let's say Last of Us had come out on PC simultaneously as PS5, like Xbox does it.
Yeah.
Or, you know, Ghost of Tsushima or Days Gone or any of these exclusives, Horizon. Let's say they all came out, you know, date and date on PC as PS5. Would someone like Mark, he would probably get it on PC, I think, if he could choose. But I think he gets his PlayStation because there's lots of great exclusives that he cannot play unless he owns that PlayStation. And part of me wonders is, do you lose out on those types of people who prefer PC for all their gaming, buying not only your console, but your game, or just waiting for the PC port?
I feel like if you have the alternatives, right, and you wanted to play the game, you would play the one that is available now. So, like, for instance, let's just say Biomutant, right? There's an Xbox Series X version, but there's not a PS5 version of Biomutant. There's just a PS4 version. So if I'm playing a new console or I want to play my new consoles, I'm just going to buy the Series X version. If I have a Series X and a PlayStation 5, I'm going to just buy the Series X version. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wanted to buy Biomutant for the PS5, but they don't got that version. Mm-hmm. So I got to pay the full price for the lesser looking version of it, on the PS4. Why not just get that 4K 60 on the Xbox and call it a day? I don't have to wait 2 or 3 years.
So what are you talking about? That. You mean people buying on their PC and get 4K right off the bat?
Well, I'm just saying, like you could buy them on either or, but it's like, okay, if I've got the game comes out on the PlayStation, but if I wait 2 years, I could get it on the PC.
Right.
Do you want to wait 2 years? You know what I mean? Like the game was available on the Xbox and the PlayStation.
I think it wasn't available on the PS5. I think if you're guaranteed, I think I would. Like, let's say, I'll use this example. Let's say, Tomb Raider comes out and it's timed exclusive on the Xbox, which is just kind of like what I did. I owned an Xbox, but I never bought it, and I just waited because I knew I had learned it was a timed exclusive, and I prefer to play my games on my PlayStation for various reasons. For one, I preferred the controller. For two, that's where I was building my trophy library, so I wanted to keep everything on one system, and so it was worth me even waiting the 2 years. It was like 2 years before it came out on PlayStation, but it did, and I ended up getting it on PlayStation, and I played it. If you really prefer that platform, I don't think you care waiting 2 years to play God of War. I really don't think you care. For many people, I'm only speaking I don't want to speak for everybody, but just from my experience, I think you don't mind waiting.
Yeah,
I think a bunch of Xbox people are like, I don't mind waiting to play it on Xbox. Like, let's say God of War was going to come out multi-plat, but it was on PlayStation first. I don't think an Xbox guy is going to go buy a PlayStation just to play it on right now. He'll wait 2 years as long as he knows for certain. I think that's the difference. I think when they first announced these PC games coming over, with Horizon was the first one, I don't think any of us thought it was okay, now we know from now on they're all timed exclusives. I think that we saw that and oh, okay, Sony's just choosing to do this with that one. Or they might do it with this one. Well, but when you see this Nix Studio purchase, it makes you think from now on, every game is timed exclusive.
Well, I mean, it's okay, when they did it for Horizon, it's okay. And then they do it for Days Gone, and it's oh, okay. And then it's a possibility that they're doing it for Uncharted. It's okay. This seems to be the thing. It's just a matter of maybe when.
Right.
Exactly. I get that they're exclusives now, but how long will they be exclusive?
Right. And I'm thinking, that's what I'm trying to say, is I think when they first started doing it, none of us therefore assumed, every game will now be that way. I just think it was just something Sony was doing. I don't think any of us thought that it was going to be a standard practice. And so I think someone's incentivized to buy a PlayStation still because they think, well, there's a chance I may not ever be able to play God of War except for on PlayStation. There's still that chance. I don't think any of us assumed that when they did Horizon on PC, I can now therefore assume with 100% assurity that I will be able to play the next God of War on PC. I think we all still thought, well, we might or we might not. It just depends on if Sony chooses to port that one.
It's a good possibility.
Right. We just assume Sony might or they might not. They're just going to choose which ones I was always under that impression that Sony is just going to choose which ones they want to port and which ones they don't want to port. But with a purchase like this, it makes it seem like there's no choice now. Sony's not just choosing which ones they think will do good and they're going to port those. They'll just do everything. I never thought it was going to be that way, but now it's feeling like it might. We still don't have word that it will because Microsoft tells us it is.
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft tells us that's our business model. Every game launches date and date on Xbox consoles and PC. That isn't Sony's MO yet. They haven't come out and like said that with their mouth. We're just kind of all now assuming that. But that's feeling like a real possibility now.
Yeah. So, as far as like the Ghost of Tsushima stuff is concerned, with getting the director's cut, releasing, I think in August.
I didn't know the date. Is that the date? It might have been the date.
I think it was.
Ghost of Tsushima director's cut is the director's cut the new content, or is the director's cut the added features like 4K
August
ray
20th.
tracing?
August 20th is when it's supposed to come.
August 20th.
So the director's cut is like it's coming out for PS4 and PS5, but it's supposed to be like, I guess the PS5 version of it. And it'll have like all of the extra, specs.
Right, I know it has 4K ray tracing. I don't know if it has ray tracing, but I know it had native 4K. I think you're getting the 60 frames per second boost.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting the controller haptic feedbacks,
right,
and adaptive triggers. All those things you're getting with this director's cut, but you have to pay $30 to get it. So it's $30. If you own it on PS4 like you and I do,
mm-hmm.
then you have to pay $30
to get the director's cut.
To get all the director's cut features. So that means all the new PlayStation 5 bells and whistles, right? The
mm-hmm.
higher frame rates, the haptic feedback, adaptive triggers, all that stuff, and the new island, and the new storylines.
Well, the director's cut, it looks like it's going to have the new island on it.
Yes, but what I'm saying is if you want to upgrade to the director's cut, it's $30.
Uh-huh.
If you want just the new island, just the new content, it's $20.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
If you want just the new PlayStation 5 features, it's $10.
Oh, okay.
Or you get them both for $30. Isn't that a lot? There's lots of outcry over this because right now Ghost of Tsushima is $70 right now.
It's still
non-director's cut, right? The Ghost of Tsushima is $70 non-director's cut.
How has it not gone down in price as old as it is?
And the director's cut is going to be $70. So people are like, why? That means those are like you and I who bought the original.
Ghost of Tsushima is showing it as $39 at GameStop.
No, I'm not talking about GameStop. I'm talking about on PSN. It's on sale. It's on sale at GameStop.
Let me see. I'm looking at GameStop right now. Hold on. Yeah. I'm assuming it's a sale because it's slashed, but it's normally at 60. It's for 40 right now on GameStop. So I'm not sure if that's a deal or whatever.
Yeah, but if you go to the PlayStation Store, which I'm trying to load it right now.
Well, we already know PSN Store is no fair.
Right. So I'm saying, but that's what Sony. But think about it, dude. They just announced a new one, and they're still charging
60.
you the same price as the old one, as the new one coming out. Yeah. Do you see what I'm saying? So if you bought it today, you'd be spending $60, or if you waited till August, you spend $60 as well and get all the bonus content.
Okay.
That's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, that kind of sucks for everybody who's just recently purchased it.
Right.
Like before that announcement.
That's
it's
what
like,
the uproar is about. It's one thing if the game was $40 right now, and then it cost you $20 to update to the new one. You're like, okay, now it's a wash.
Right.
Both people paid $60, but I just got done paying $60, and now I got to pay another $20, and dude is just gonna pay $60.
Yeah.
I paid $80 for the same as that game. Like, it's a kind of a debacle, a little bit of a debacle, and then there's another debacle too with paying $10 for our next gen upgrade. Because that's what it costs. If we want the PS5 version of Ghost of Tsushima, we have to pay $10. You and I do. If we just want the next gen stuff, rather than like,
which is the haptic feedback on the controller,
right, and the updated
stuff,
resolutions and stuff,
right?
Where Microsoft is just giving all their ray tracing. They don't have haptic feedback and stuff, but all the bells and whistles.
Well, I mean,
if your Xbox can do it, they give it.
Yeah, you don't even have to look at that. You can look at some of the other games that have come out that just automatically give you the upgrade. Like if there's the PS5 version, you just get the upgrade.
Exactly.
You just download it and you got
But
it.
I'm talking about the first party games.
Yeah.
Like Sony's slow rolling all the updates for the first party games.
Right.
Yeah, if I buy a Ubi game, I get both versions for free. But I'm talking about if I buy Last of Us 2, right? They took forever to release a 60 frames update.
Right.
They still haven't done it for Ghost, and now we know why, because they're releasing the director's cut. But it's like they're slow rolling their first party games, where Microsoft, Halo instantly was X. Ori instantly was X. Everything that they owned was their first party. Yeah. They had it already updated for the X.
Right.
Where Sony's they're slow rolling it. And they were kind of giving them out for free slowly but surely. But this one they're not. They're charging you and I $10 for that. I'm like, gosh, that's so frustrating. Because if we want to play on our PS5, then we have to pay $30. Well, because we have to buy our content and our upgrade.
Right.
To utilize our new console.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely have to pay for that, in order to get that. But the director's cut, that's on there. That's the one that's on here for $20 on the PlayStation Store. That's just for the upgrade.
That's just the upgrade. That's just the
content. That doesn't include the new island.
That's just the content.
No, it does include the new island.
Yes, that's the content. That's the new DLC content. So think of it like a DLC content. Right?
Yeah.
That's $20. And then it's $10 to upgrade from the PS4 version to the PS5 version of the game.
Because this shit just says
game.
PS4 Pro Enhanced.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly, dude.
All right.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's $20 to get the Icky.
Yeah,
the
Icky Island.
Ikishima Island or
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I understand DLCs cost a bit, but the fact that you got to pay for this $20 plus you got to pay a $10 just to be able to see it on the PS5 seems like a rip. Seems like that should have just been given to you for free.
Just $20. Charge me $20 and make me get all the PS5 features. Yeah. I just got done buying the PS5. Like what? That's what's so
weird. What more
are
you asking from me?
Yeah, I spent money.
What more do you want from me?
Exactly. Like the guy who's on PS4, he never spent the money to get the PS5. I feel like that's my entry fee. That's my entry fee to the 4K. That's my entry fee to 60. Is I spent money where the dude who has a PS4 didn't.
Right.
Why? I also had to pay now an additional fee for
just
that.
To see it?
Just to see my system run the way I bought it to run?
Yeah,
that's so weird.
This should have been able to give you both. Like it should have had PS4/PS5 on here. And that's,
exactly.
Okay. So I see why people would be griping over that. That's definitely one of those issues that I feel like at the end of the day, I feel like it's not going to matter because there's not enough of us to just unite and be like, well, fuck this game. Like, I'm not going to buy I'm not going to pre-order it. I'm not going to buy the upgraded version of it. Like, I'm not doing that. You know what I mean?
I agree. Part of me's like that.
I'll let it sit and let it and see
part of me's
if
like
they'll
that,
go ahead
bro.
and attach it
like,
on there.
Part of me's like that. Where I'm going to sit and wait. That's how I feel. Will I? Because the show, maybe not. But I'm unique. I'm talking about if I was a normal gamer.
It's just an expansion.
I'm just saying it's like why are they doing this? And it's normal standard practice when you relaunch like the new game coming out, you decrease the price of the old one.
Right.
Like even with Apple, when they launched the new iPhone, the other one, the previous
starts to go down.
Yeah, immediately, right? Because they know, why am I going to spend the same amount of money on the older one? I can just get the new one for the same price.
Right.
Sony doesn't seem to be doing that, and so folks buying the game right now are being ripped. It's like so weird. What's wrong? Okay, what's wrong with charging $40 right now for Ghost, and people can enjoy it, waiting for the DLC to come out? And when the DLC comes out, you get $20 from them. You're still getting your $60 from them in total. Like, I don't understand like what the rub is here for them. Why are they not doing that? Because don't you think they would see a boost in sales? Like, let's say they just dropped Ghost to 40 right now. You see a boost in sales, and now you're going to see a boost in expansion sales because people will buy the $20 expansion on top of the new purchase.
Yeah, if they're purchasing it online. Yeah.
Well, right now, no one's going to buy nothing, right? And you might get sales. Now you're just souring people's taste, right? And you might get some expansion sales when it comes out. I don't know. I just don't know what the rub is. It's just a little strange to me. This ghost stuff.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. But currently, right now, if you were interested in getting Ghost of Tsushima, you can go on to GameStop. It's selling for $40 right now. You could probably
That's the way to
order
go.
it online or something.
And then
that
pay
would
your
give you a
$20,
$40, and then you can buy the director's cut expansion version of it for the $20 more. If you're feeling fancy, footloose and fancy free, you get the $10 to get you the PS5 version, and you've spent $70 in total on the game.
Which is what they're shooting for. That $70 price tag.
Yeah, but you know, on to the last topic of the day. There was Dying Light 2 gameplay that was shown.
Right.
They were showing it was like staying human was what they were calling
Dying
it,
Light
right?
2
Is
Staying
that what the name of it is? Like Dying Light 2 Staying Human?
I think that is the name of it. Yeah.
So it was an interesting video. It wasn't that long. I think it was like maybe 2 or 3 minutes long or something like that. But it was showing a lot that was going on with the zombies and kind of giving you a little idea of the way the story was going and what you would have to do. So, I mean, from what I watched from that trailer, right, which was shown on I saw this one on I think GameSpot or something like that. But yeah, it was fairly short. But basically, it seems like he's infected. Your main character, your guy, and
it seems like he gets infected in this encounter.
Right, yeah, like he
wasn't at the start of it, and then he got infected.
Right, and so he's basically the whole premise of the game is to just make sure that you don't turn.
Right,
that you're doing whatever you can to turn. It seems like I feel like Daylight is more of a friend in this game than it was in the previous one, right? Because it seems like they can't even come out in the daylight now. They were like out there burning and stuff.
You're right.
Zombies were out there in the daylight.
Those must have been unique zombies. Maybe. Because I remember in the last trailer, the last gameplay, there was zombies outside. So those must have been like some unique, more deadly ones that only come out at night.
Yeah.
Because a couple of those dudes were bad dudes.
Yeah, I mean, that one that was like sitting there looking for him, you know.
Like a hunter or whatever.
Yeah. It seemed like he was a little bit more intense.
What did you think of like
that big one,
the gameplay in general, just the way it flowed and felt and the feelings it gave you?
It definitely seemed like a little intense when you're like walking through that, when he was walking through that building with all of those guys and they're like hunched over. They're kind of like in a docile state. They don't really know that he's there or pay attention to the fact that he's there walking around. And then, you know, he gets that little monitor thing that's almost telling him like, hey, you need to go out into the sunlight, I guess.
At the very end of that sequence.
Yeah. And it seemed like the shit just hit the fan after that, right? Like they were aware that he was in there and they're all chasing after him and whatnot.
Dude, that was heart pounding. Like even for me, the viewer, I'm
yeah,
like, ooh, this is crazy. When he was running, dude, from everything, dude, and like that was like such a great, in my opinion, that was such a great utilization of the parkour mechanics. Because before in the game, you had the parkour and you're just kind of using it to traverse it.
Right.
But this one was like you're running for your life.
You're trying to get away.
And you know how like in like these games like Uncharted or even like The Last of Us, they have these scenes where they're like running away. This one was like even better because like every angle, every section you can slide, go under, go around.
Right.
You had like all these choices and directions. Like, dude, this is a really great utilization.
Dude
of
was like
parkour.
running on the walls inside.
He ran
building,
on the walls, dude. Like he did a side wall run to get around
sliding
something.
Underneath,
I was like, this is so
medical beds and stuff like
well
that.
done.
Yeah.
And it was like, because it wasn't like scripted. This is like how you run in the game. But they were utilizing it in like a scripted kind of like thematic scene way.
Yeah,
and it was so cool.
I'm almost not sure if that was actual gameplay or if it was
gameplay
part. Like, but I'm saying like I wonder if we would have to do that same run, like be able to go through there. However we get through there.
I think so.
Just have to run through that place.
That's a good question. I think so. I wonder if you can avoid getting hit.
Trying to figure out,
I mean.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out like, oh, how the hell does he know where to go? Because I'm not seeing sunlight coming from a specific place, except for when you got to that last door.
I just assume he knows.
Maybe
where
it's
the
on.
exit
Maybe
is.
there's a HUD, and they just got rid of the HUD for you, but it's telling you like what direction to run. You know, but yeah, it seemed like he was definitely running for his life, trying to get away from everything that was.
Dude,
in
it
there.
was totally awesome, and you like hear the guy pounding behind you and like not wanting to stop.
Oh yeah.
And like you were mentioning before, the stealth mechanic where he's like sneaking through and like he has his knife and like that's felt really, really well done. I don't know if the game really impressed me. I was not expecting this because I played Dying Light and I really liked it.
Yeah.
But I wasn't expecting like this attention to detail when it came to like the suspense of the moment to moment gameplay with
Right.
like the stealth and the running and the parkour. I wasn't expecting that quality. And because it's been 6 years since they released the previous Dying Light, so they've been really working on this game.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing where some of that work finally is
A lot
like
of
going.
improvements and stuff
And
going
I'm
on,
like,
yeah.
this really, this was put on my map, dude. Like this game, I'm really impressed. I'm actually super excited. I like that, you know, like the Last of Us kind of feel where you can sneak by if you're quiet enough or you're slow enough. You don't have to do the combat. Like just giving you those choices to, you know, change the narrative a bit.
Yeah, I'm wondering. I was also wondering if you could stealth knife kill like those guys that were just sitting there crouched down or whatever. You know,
me too. I was wondering
like,
that too.
Can you kill everything that's in the building, or do you have to leave everything alone because that's part of the game, or you know what? You know what I'm saying? Like you kill something, does he make a loud noise and it's heard, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, or can you? Because in Last of Us, you can kind of, you know, like you
they
muffle
don't really
the gargle
cry the
or
same
whatever.
way
Yeah,
when you knife them.
Yeah, you kind of muffle it up.
Right.
Like that'd be cool if they did that kind of like here too, and you have that choice.
Yeah,
I don't know. It just looked very well polished, very well done. I was pleasantly surprised. I wasn't expecting it to be this good. I wasn't even sure if I'd want to talk. If we should talk about it today, but when I saw the gameplay, I was like, "Dude, this is really incredible, man! Like, I had to share this with you."
Yeah,
and you're like, you watched it, and you were really impressed too.
Yeah,
and we were just like, this game, just wow, you know, well done. Whoever these guys, I can't remember the name, people who made this game. I know they're published by Warner Brothers. I know that, but Techland. So Techland is the developer of Dying Light, and they kind of like they one up themselves from the original Dying Light. With like Assassin's Creeds and a lot of these Call of Duties, they just kind of like they reproduce the exact same game over again. I feel like they didn't quite do that here. Like it is Dying Light, and you can tell,
right?
But there's these mechanics.
It seems like they've revamped a lot of.
They revamped a lot of this.
A lot of different things on it.
And dude, didn't like even like the guy you're talking with, like it felt very well voice acted, and like really just a lot better. Like, well done, man. Here's your thing. Like, it just felt a lot more natural and polished. The characters and the voice acting.
Yeah.
It just was really good. It was really, really good. If you guys haven't seen it yet, search up Dying Light 2. Stay Human.
I will try to put the link in there.
Also, it might be running in the background when we're talking about this.
I don't be trying to jack people's videos. I literally just search for something, you know what I mean, to put it up there because we don't really record much of our gameplay or whatever. We need to start, but you know, but yeah. So I'll try.
Well, and a lot of this gameplay's not available yet. So all we can do is find something because we don't have access to it.
Right.
So just check it out. Or if you're watching the clip of this show, then you should be able to see the video as well.
Yeah, there's actually well, I'm definitely gonna show the clip on there, and I'll show where I got it from, or let you guys know where I got it from. But if you guys do happen to have a chance, you got like an hour or so time to spare. GameSpot had like an extended talk of Dying Light 2. So basically they were talking to the one of the developers, and he was like kind of walking you through some of the stuff that they were doing and things like that. So definitely a lot of stuff there, but I didn't watch all of it. Watched like maybe 10 minutes of it, but yeah, it's a lot of cool info there, so check that out.
Yeah, great stuff.
But so that's it. That's all we got for you guys this week. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned, because these pop out every week, and we always got stuff to talk about. So we'd like for you guys to join us. Once again, if you've come back, then we appreciate you guys. And until next week, everybody say hi to Mark in the comments. He's still out, but he'll be back soon enough. And we'll catch you guys later. Deuces.
Peace.
See you.
I love you, me.